Kevin J. Johnston, the #1 name in the land of the North, he's risen to fame. 40 years deep in the law he's read. Now the CRA shakes in fear and dread. Stop paying tax forever, my friend. With Kevin J. Johnston, the fight doesn't end. Corporate debt, he'll make it all good. He's the man the CRA misunderstood. Payroll problems, they vanish like mist when Kevin shows up with his legal fist. No more matching, no more lies, just clean-cut books and clear blue skies. Stop paying tax forever, my friend. With Kevin J. Johnston, the rules start to bend. The CRA can scream and shout, but Kevin knows how to throw them out. They claim they've got the final say, but Kevin proves there's a better way. He fights for truth, he fights for you, and teaches what the courts won't do. Forever today. Let Kevin J. Johnston show you the way. The expert, the rebel, the man with a plan. He's saving this nation, one client per hand. He's got 40 years of tax law knowing and corporate skills that keep cash flowing. GST, payroll, all in line. He'll save your neck and every dime. He studied law, both civil crime, and makes tax code sound so sublime. With stand-up jokes and punchlines tight, he makes your seminar a night of light. Kevin J, CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J, taking all your tax away. If the government's scared, then it's safe to say he's the hero of the North, Kevin J. 2 million women cast their vote, said Kevin's hot, that's all she wrote. The suits at CRA can't compete, he's beaten them clean without deceit. 100 mil he's saved so far, he's raising truth like a legal star. And if you think you owe the state, he'll show you how to terminate. Kevin J, CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J, taking all your tax away. If the government's scared, then it's safe to say he's the hero of the North, Kevin
KevinJJohnston here. Welcome to the Tax and Money Show, episode number 123. The Tax and Money Show is live right here on the taxandmoneyshow.com every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to go right back to the format that you all love so much, which is me answering questions for a full 2 hours. Yes, my voice is scratchy. Yes, I was barking at some people today. Yes, we all have those bad days, and yeah, once in a while I lose my cool. So if you're hearing some scratchiness, it's all on me, everybody. Now, I missed last week's show. I got to apologize to each and every one of you for that. My Lord, here's what I was doing. I went to Colombia. I was there for a couple of reasons. Number one, funeral. It was awful. And then I decided to go and have a look around a property to see if it's worthwhile to invest in Colombia. And as soon as I saw that there was a place where I could surf, I decided to grab a surfboard and try to surf, something I have not done since the year 1999, I believe. And I suck. God, I suck at surfing. So in frustration, I moved on to wind surfing. Yeah, that one's pretty cool. Or kite surfing, they call it, where you've got the board, you're kind of down on one knee. Yeah, you look like a catcher, I guess, in baseball, where you're down squatting low and you're holding a large kite and that pulls you around. Yeah, I screwed up. God, did I screw up. And it hurt. It hurt a lot. And normally I would say that when you have massive amounts of bone and muscle pain, the best thing to take, for me, not for you, and I am not endorsing drugs here. I'm just telling you, I do not like mind-altering drugs at all. I don't use them. So I would use half a tablet of Percocet just to calm the body down so I can focus. Can't get it in Colombia. I get that. They're trying their best to curb the drug trade. So they've got this painkiller that's over the counter. That's worse. It's worse. It is horrible. I don't even remember the name. I took pictures of it, and I'm going to release it and tell people don't buy this stuff. It is god awful. Whatever it was, it kept me awake all night. And when I finally got to sleep, I had black and white dreams, just weird images in my head. So these over-the-counter medications sometimes are worse than the prescription stuff. Guys, I was in La Land. I was in orbit, and there was no way for me to leave orbit and come back down to Earth to conduct last week's show with the amount of pain I was in and whatever the hell that was I took. So here I am. I apologize for missing last week's show, but we're going to dive right into it. Now, the thoughts, the first question here, it's a very long one, so I'm not going to read the whole question out. But to summarize the question that I received here, what are my thoughts on this Gordie Howe Bridge? Which, for those who don't know, is the new bridge that's pretty much beside the Ambassador Bridge in Windsor, Ontario, that crosses into the United States into Detroit, where Canada paid for the bridge and the revenue was supposed to be Canada's. Well, because we have losers in office, because Canadians really don't know how to be business people and nobody knows how to negotiate with Trump, the bridge is going to have pretty much all of its revenue handed over to Donald J. Trump and the United States of America. Now, does this bother me? No, because it's typical. It's how Canada does business, right? Canadians will spend copious amounts of money to get a project done, build it, and then never profit from it. It's the Canadian way, so I'm not surprised. And for those who do not comprehend world politics, Mark Carney has come to Canada to put the final nails in the coffin. Justin Trudeau, for the fun of it, for kicks, he's laughing at all of you, came into Canada, got his position as prime minister because you guys couldn't wait to put him in there. You forgot how terrible his father was. So boomers put him in there, and so did weed smokers. Hey, man, it's gonna legalize weed. Gonna be able to go buy weed. You ever see people when they say, I want to get weed, they always stretch their jaw. Weed. I got to go buy some weed. And because he promised to give you free weed, you guys voted for this clown. So after 11 years of destroying Canada, Mark Carney says, okay, Justin, good job. Go date Katy Perry, her name is, and go date some guys and go dance around like a freak. Go do that. And then let me finally bury the rest of the country. And his entire campaign was based on this. He says, elbows up. No one knows what that means, by the way. And I'm going to fight Donald Trump. And stupid people said, oh, really? You're going to fight Donald Trump? He's that guy that the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation says I'm not supposed to like. So you voted for this clown based on the fact that he says he's going to go to war with a guy who's got 5,000 nuclear weapons sitting in arsenals, with a guy who's willing to use them, and with a guy who is such an overt American patriot who's made it clear he's not president of the world, he's president of the United States. You're going to go to war with him? So this elbows up thing, putting Carney in office, is going to bankrupt you, and him spending, or throughout the course of the last decade, $6 billion being spent on a bridge is what he's doing to continue to harm the economy. So there you go, everybody. Why are we not going to make money? Guys, like, I get it. We're saying, bro, F politics. Guys, I'm just talking about money here. I'm talking about your money. I'm not bringing this is not a political show. It's a money show. But if you want to know why we have a $6 billion bridge that we're not going to make any money on, it is because we have leadership that's deliberately trying to devalue the entire country and just take it. Now, for those of you out there who've been watching my show for a long time, you know I've done my research, and you know that this is not just an opinion. You know I know this stuff. So, everybody, am I right or am I wrong? And does it matter for the individuals watching this show? If all of you want to be rich, just understand that politics are something that you need to look at just so you can see where the country is going, so you can make the appropriate decision for you and your family. Because, if you really stop and think about it, there's a lot of countries out there that don't exist anymore. Like, people don't have national pride. Everyone's got the desire to have some kind of personal brand online, which I get. I've got one. There's a lot of people out there that have personal brands online. So everyone's very inwardly focused, very selfishly focused, very unprincipled in how they make money. I'm not saying be unprincipled, but I am saying, guys, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it is okay to now be selfish, to be you, looking out for you and your immediate family, because the Western world is in the midst of a crash. We are in a decline. When you're in a decline, there's nothing I can do with my big mouth, and nothing any of you can do to stop this now. So please make money. Stop paying tax in Canada. Make money. If you've got money and property in Canada, let's move it out of Canada, and let's get you out of Canada so you can live a great life like what I'm doing. I love the life that I've built here in Panama. Panama is all about business, freedom of speech. You don't go to prison here for saying that you don't like the president. You can crack any joke you want here. And Panamanians, unlike Canadians, are extremely opinionated about the things that they dislike. And they'll tell you that they don't like something, and they'll tell you why. There's a select religion here, I'm not going to bring it up because it's political, that is hated here. And it does not get any leeway from the people in this country because it is a Christian country and they're sticking to their values. Now, when a country sticks to its own values, and when a country is highly nationalistic, very much unlike Canada, then you are going to be in a country that makes money. When you have a whole nation of people who love their country, they'll take care of it. And you can see just how well Panama is being taken care of by its government and by its people. Great place to invest, everybody. So there you go. That's my take on that stupid bridge and that stupid slogan, elbows up, all that ridiculous liberal nonsense. Ladies and gentlemen, just get out. Just get out. There's no point staying there being miserable all the time. Okay, guys, live a good life. And I know that a lot of you don't like Canadian winters. I hate them. I haven't seen snow now in 3.5 years. It's been absolutely fantastic. It is okay for you to live a good life. It is okay to just walk away. All righty. So let's go to the YouTube channel questions here. Yeah, there's some folks that say that they like their four seasons. I understand that. I can do without the winter season. I actually don't mind the autumn season where you get that temperature like 61 degrees in the morning. Sure, wonderful. But minus 40? No thanks. That's all yours. Take it and enjoy it. Let me just have a look at the Twitter room here. All right. So what are my thoughts on crypto? That's a pretty vague question. Right. So I could just talk for 3 hours on that. Obviously, cryptocurrency is the future. It's a given. And cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency is something that everybody is adopting, I'm actually glad that it's around. Let me tell you why. Because every country out there understands that their banking systems run on electricity. They run through this internet thing. They are absolutely needing electricity and cooling towers and data centers. They need everything around the world to work for their own money to function. So the more that we have in the way of tokenization and the more that we have in the way of crypto out there and digital currencies that are not centralized, by the way, the more of a chance that there will never be a nuclear war. All right. Here's the deal. If you hit New York or you hit Moscow or you hit LA with some massive nuke, you know what happens? Money it disappears. It's gone. And don't think for a second that just because you're in the United States that only Americans are investing in America. You know, the Russians are not going to hit the States with anything because the Russians have got a whole ton of vested interest in the USA. All right, guys. So we're good. I'm actually very happy about that. But as for crypto itself, here's what I got. And these, if I was going to recommend coins, I think that might be your question here. If I'm going to recommend coins, then I would be holding Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the new gold. People don't normally spend it, but they hang on to it. Ethereum is a great one because the ERC20 network is used by so many other companies out there looking to create their own meme coins or just looking to trade. Ethereum has high gas fees, but yeah, whatever. It's used by a lot of millennials. A lot of digital content is purchased and moved around through Ethereum. Hyperliquid is a true privacy coin. So, that's parfait. Solana, because the Solana network, all that is being used by developers all over the world. And if you want to know what's going to work, look at what the dorks and the geeks are doing. The genius level guys who cook up stuff like the BlackBerry back in 1996, those are the guys you want to watch as to what they're doing. They're all buying Solana. HBAR, it's, I think, at 9 cents right now. So I grabbed probably about $50,000 worth of it, and absolutely XLM and absolutely XRP. Why? XRP's got a lot of hype around it, which I get, but it can still do 40,000 transactions per second worldwide. That's pretty good. And I thank you for the hack, guys. Appreciate that. What I love here about crypto is that nobody needs to get involved with anything. I don't need a Swift code. I'm on the phone. I'm talking to my client. They transfer crypto. It's done. I tell them, yep, we got it. Thank you. I send over the invoice with paid on it, and we're good. All right. So I love crypto. I would actually rather have crypto than I would cash or fiat currency like US or Canadian dollars. So I'm not sure if that was the question that you're asking, but those are the coins I bought. Right now, crypto's at an all-time low. So if you're willing or wanting to get into crypto, now's the time. 12 months ago wasn't. Things were kind of up a bit, but now's the time. So don't be one of those folks that gets in late. All right. If you're going to get into something that you know is going to work, buy low. Don't sell high unless it goes really high. And then you have really good knowledge that it's going to begin to go back down. All right. So let's say, for example, I'll just give you an idea what I'm talking about here. There's a lot of speculators that are saying stuff like XRP will go to $1,000. Maybe in 7 or 8 years. Sure. It's not. But if it did, I would sell all of them because my net worth would be somewhere in the range of 180 million US dollars. I'd sell at that point because $180 million should be enough to retire on. Should be. If Bitcoin goes up to, let's say, 250,000 US dollars, I will sell all of it and wait for the market to drop again and then buy more with what I've made in the way of a profit. Sure. Then you're doing the right thing. But a lot of people buy in late. They wait for the price to go way up, speculate. I don't know. Ooh. And then okay, I'm going to buy. And you're buying at elevated prices and the prices go down. And you panic sell because I don't like volatile stuff people can't handle. So they sell when it's back on the way down. Don't panic sell. If something begins to drop in value, but you know it's never going to fully disappear, then you wait for it to go down, buy a ton, and ride out what's called the next bull market. Bear markets are low, bull markets are high. And that's why you see outside the New York Stock Exchange that really cool statue of a large bull and a large bear kind of attacking each other or sizing each other up. Bear market's low, bull market's high. Right now, we're in the ultimate bear market. So if I had another 10 million bucks, I would sink every penny of it into crypto right now. There you go. I hope that answers your question. Let me head over to the Rumble room, folks, and see what is being asked over there. Okay. All right. What do I think about the cold card hacking? Okay, you know what? I can't make any commentary on that because I actually didn't do any research into it. But what I can tell you is this. If you have a cold storage wallet for your crypto, what happens is, and this happens to be every time I do a transfer, is I transfer to my hard wallet. Immediately, I get the same cryptocurrency sent to the same wallet where I get a 0.000001 XRP, which is not even a penny. Okay. That comes in. So what happens here? You've seen the wallet IDs that are like what, 50, 55 characters long. When people are sending crypto, they only check the first 5 and the last 5. And I know it's a pain in the ass, guys, but go through all of them, all right? Check every single letter, because what will happen here, these guys will send you money after you've transferred to your hard wallet, and they'll mimic like the first and last 7, maybe 10, but everything else in the middle changes. And then you think, oh, okay, I'm going to transfer, and I'll just use the same key as before, which would be the most recent one, which is the one the scammer sent you. You copy and paste, and they get your crypto. So, ladies and gentlemen, the hard wallets are being hacked because you're not paying attention. That's it. It's not like they're creeping into your bedroom at night, taking your hard wallet and draining everything off of it. All right. You're instead going to be the one that makes the boo-boo of sending crypto out or bringing more in to the last wallet ID, and that's the scammer. And it really is unfortunate that nobody wants to work anymore and everybody just wants to scam. And speaking of scamming everybody, I don't know what's going on out there, but all of you have been watching my show for a very long time. You know, it's KevinJJohnston.com. Here we go on both platforms. But somehow, some of you are talking to other people who are not me, and you're giving away money. So we've had more than 20 people now. They're calling me or not calling me, but they're emailing and swearing up and down, asking where their money is and where their taxes are, and we don't know who they are. So we say, look, I think you might have got scammed. We'll give them 15 minutes of time in the chat room, and it turns out when they show us all their email records, it ain't me. So my name is Kevin, not Kelvin. All right. So whenever you hear a Kelvin, that's typically Asia, Vietnam, Cambodia, any Asian country. If you ever listen to somebody who's Asian, most languages, especially Mandarin and whatnot, the tongue is not pushed against the tip of the teeth. It's in the back of the mouth. The roof of the mouth. That's where you get that sounds. All right. It's a different way to speak. So they cannot say Kevin. All right. Kevin. They always say Kelvin. And when they're saying it into the microphones and the computer is typing what they're saying, it's actually KevinJJohnston. And they usually get this letter and this letter here, the H and the O backwards. Ladies and gentlemen, how many freaking times do I got to say it? If you're not talking to me in the chat room or my team and they're using this website address, you're talking to a scammer. And what irritates me is you get mad at me that I'm not going to help you get your money back. How would I do that? How? If you get scammed out of Nigeria or out of Cambodia or wherever, how am I going to help you get your money back? I'm going to fly to Cambodia and knock on every door saying, hi, how you doing? Did you rip off Mr. John Smith? Could you give him back his money? Would that be okay? Thank you. You really think that's going to happen? All of you out there, especially in the Western world, the whole world knows that you're polite and that you are a sucker. All right? Being nice costs you money. Being crass and vile and rude to people like this gets rid of them because they do not perceive you to be weak. Another scam out there, everybody, is you get a phone call. It's almost always out of India or Pakistan. And they'll say that we accidentally sent you $2,000. Could you send us the $2,000 back? They take control of your computer. And as you're typing in $2,000 to return it to them, they will tap an extra zero. And now it's $20,000. Right? So they're stealing your money left, right, and center. And you all feel guilty. So you go to Western Union and give them $20,000. The hell's the matter with everybody? Somebody phones you and wants money. And you say, well, okay, I guess I could do that. Come on. You need to be adults. You need to be vigilant and you need to be vile. I know that a lot of you don't like guys like Donald Trump. I know that. Some of you do, some of you don't. But look at the way he talks to people and look at how well he gets things done. He is vile and he's crass and he's direct and he's pointing at people like, boom, be quiet, stop talking, get out of here. And it works. You have to be the same way. You got to become everything that you cannot stand. Okay. We're just going to go ahead. There's some troll here. We're not going to acknowledge them, but we're going to block them. And block. Confirm. We don't waste our time talking to trolls here, folks. We block them. Okay, here's a question from George. In your restaurant video, you said that main co plus breakfast, lunch, and dinner can all write off the same expenses. How does that work legally? You just write them off. That's it. You just write them off. Okay, let me see if I've got that image here that I could show you. Yes, I do. There we go. I know you're not going to see it on TikTok, folks, but here's the way that it works with restaurants. If you've got a restaurant, you're probably losing money. All right, that's just how it is. Why? Because you're not doing things properly on the accounting side. So I'll use the speaker here. If this is Donald's Steakhouse up here, this will be your main company. You need to register 3 other corporations: Donald's Breakfast House, Donald's Lunch House, and Donald's Dinner House. Now, the way that it works here would be that all 4 of these businesses run completely independent of each other. The Breakfast House, let's say, makes money on the till from 6 a.m. until 11:59. And then the Lunch House takes over from 12 until 4. Dinner takes over from 4 until close. And then the actual main restaurant itself is the one that signs all of the deals and gets all the contracts in place, gets all the supplies in. So because you've got 4 different corporations, you're serving the same food. It is the same place, but you've got 4 different corporations inside the same building. All 4 of them write everything off. You just write everything off. It's a collaborative effort. Now, someone says, is it legal? Sure it is. Absolutely it is, because let me tell you here, just give you a simple example, all right? This JBL speaker here, it's even got a clip on it. $68.95. But in the office, my business partners will tune into it. We'll move it around a bit. So on my laptop, and it's on John's laptop, and it's on Steve's laptop at various points of the day. All three of us use that speaker. I'm not going to spend any time whatsoever drafting up a contract that says we are going to split the expense of this speaker 3 ways. Bullshit, I'm going to do that, all right? Instead, we've all got a copy of the receipt, and we all just write it off because we're all using it. It's the same idea as the office space. Told you my office space here is cheap, but even though my office space is cheap, imagine this, okay? This beautiful office I'm in is $1,200 a month to rent. That's it, and I'm right downtown. I could split the company up into 4 or 5, and I could sublet that out, all right? Genius, folks. I pay $1,200. I could in turn sublet it out for $10,000 to each company that shares one little desk inside with 10-year payment terms. They go ahead and they write everything off. And I can forgive the invoice 3 years from now. Ta-da! Guys, it's just paper. It's arbitrary paper. I mean, I think the biggest issue that people have with comprehending what I do and comprehending the law in general, there's just not enough philosophy out there. All right, let's do some basic philosophy. Basic. My hometown, the city of Mississauga, I refer to it as Miss Shit Saga. That place is an absolute disgrace. So what happens here is on just about every single city's street, especially if you're close to the lakefront, you can park your car from 6 a.m. all the way until 10:59 and 59 seconds. But at 11, you get a ticket. Now, please tell me, what harm is the car causing at 11 o'clock at night for 7 hours until 6 o'clock in the morning? Tell me. There's fewer cars on the road, so it's actually safer for that thing to be parked on the road late at night. But something magical happens in the universe. I guess what? If the city doesn't start writing tickets at 11 p.m., the sun won't come up tomorrow. Remember how stupid the Aztecs were? They believed if they did not cut a human heart out of someone's chest and throw the corpse down the stairs of their pyramid, the sun would not come up tomorrow. They believed that. Yeah. And they also believed that whenever they opened up a brand new region or city or temple, they had to burn people alive or the sun wouldn't come up tomorrow. Right? When the Mexicans opened up the capital city of Tenochtitlan, which is now modern day Mexico City, they slaughtered 20,000 of their own citizens, cut their hearts out, threw the hearts into a fire pit, threw the corpses down the stairs. Now the sun will come up tomorrow. Think about how stupid that is. So now in the city of Mississauga at 11 p.m., you can't park on the street. Somehow it's magic. It's paper. It's an idea. It's an idea that some idiot made up at some point, and it became standard because everyone just said, well, okay, I guess I'll do this. All of human history is arbitrary. Do you think the planet's going to notice when we're not here? You think it's going to care? You think the planet Mercury is going to care that there's no more humans on the surface of Earth? Come on. It's all arbitrary. It's crap. It's nonsense. This paperwork stuff for the CRA and the IRS and the ATO and all these other institutions, philosophically speaking, it's just something somebody made up, and they put this in front of you and they want you to spend your time, a completely non-renewable resource, to fill out paperwork for them because you have to. I don't know why, but you have to, because I do it and he does it. And if I do it, you have to. Right? Guys, you can write off whatever you want. You can do your taxes any way you want. You can run your business any way you want. So long as you're working within the criminal code of the country that you live in, you won't be in prison. Think about that. Morally and ethically speaking, I'm not going to steal your stuff. I'm not going to get into bar fights. I'm certainly not going to shoot anybody. All right. Those are crimes. I'm not doing any of that nonsense. But I promise you this, I'm going to ignore everything in the Income Tax Act, and I'm going to ignore every CRA policy and every government policy where they want me to do something for free for them. I'm not doing it. I'm not volunteering my time. So for those out there who are really overtly concerned about the idea of 4 restaurants working inside the same building, and technically they are the same restaurant, but they operate at different hours of the day, yes, you can write everything off for all 4 the exact same amounts. And all four on paper will lose money and you will never have a tax bill. And that is how you succeed in the restaurant business, by philosophically understanding it's just paper. And you can voluntarily put whatever the hell you want on that paper. I hope that helps. Okay. Just having a look at your question. Guys, tonight's episode is your questions answered, so don't hold back. Ask your questions. Get them in there. Let me head over to the YouTube room. Hey, are you able to get already paid taxes to the CRA back from a heritage? Could you explain what the heritage is, please? I'd like a bit more detail on that question, if you don't mind. Okay. How do you respond to your bank asking why your numbered company is in a holding company? How do I respond? I just lie and say, that's how my lawyer set everything up. Would you like to call him? You ask him that. Yeah. But whenever I say, would you like to speak to my lawyer? I also follow that up with, comma, inhale. He's $185 an hour. So before we call him to pacify you, I have to get a Visa or MasterCard or cash from you to pay his bill. That ends the conversation right there. You're cooperating, but you're not cooperating. And don't think for a second, everybody. Yeah, I do have a lawyer on retainer, but I am not going to allow the public to speak to him because, I got to pay. You want to talk to my lawyer? You pay. It is that easy. Oh, and let's go one step further with this lawyer crap, by the way, because whenever we do business deals here, occasionally I get some smart ass that says, hey, listen, Kevin, you're going to sign this NDA and you're going to sign this contract we're doing. I'll say, okay, well, here's the deal. I'm not reading this because you're asking me to work for free. My lawyer will review this and tell me if it is sound, and he's going to look for indiscrepancy. I don't say scams, but indiscrepancies, but you're paying for it. So I'll get a quote from him and you can just cut him a check. And of course they all say no. Well, now we know this person's not serious. So don't ask me to have my lawyer charge me to review your shit. It's not going to happen. And all of you can do the exact same thing, by the way. Just say, yeah, you lie. Say you have a lawyer. You got to pay my lawyer's fees. I'm not paying my lawyer to do anything to pacify anyone. The only time that's not true is when the ridiculous cops in Canada, who are losers, by the way, decide they want to call me and ask me questions. I'll just tell them the same thing. Guys, you know better. I'm not going to answer your freaking questions. And I'll even ask them, who's my lawyer? And they'll tell me his name. So good. Call him. Hang up the phone. Now, fortunately, I haven't had any phone calls from Canadian Pork at all. Thank God for that, because I have no time for any of those guys. During my tenure as a journalist in Canada, I met more cops than I ever wanted to meet. I came across one who was smart. The rest were less than laudable. We'll just call them that. All right, here we go. I cannot pronounce this name. Sorry, I got that wrong. All right. If you add a random director to your corporation, the deposits are made to a bank account that's under your name. Wouldn't the CRA see that the account belongs to you and would show your income? No, not at all. If the CRA has a suspicion that you've got a bank account out there somewhere, they're only going to know if your social insurance number is on there. So when all of you are opening up bank accounts, make sure you don't get savings accounts. If there's no savings account, they don't need your social insurance number, period. And if a bank says, no, well, we have to do it, it's our policy. Bye. There's more than one bank in the country, right? Period. And as for social insurance numbers, you just lie. You lie. There's social insurance number generators out there. Just here, you want a number? Here's a social. I don't say mine. I very cleverly word my stuff. Here's a social insurance number. There you are. And if you're dealing with a Canadian bank, you're guaranteed not to be dealing with somebody who's born in Canada, who speaks English and understands the culture. So they will not catch that little deliberate slip of the tongue. I never answer questions directly, period. You don't have to either, period. So guys, just keep your SIN number away from people, period. Yannick. Okay, so hold on. Here's the question. So basically, the bank account that I have got liquidated, and I had to pay a bunch of taxes on an RRSP. Also, I have some losses on investments that I was never able to defer. Well, here's the way that it works with losses, everybody, is if you lose money on an investment, someone steals your crypto, someone steals your car, anything that you lose is a capital loss. We always put that down on personal tax returns. All right. So if anybody says that they're concerned that they might be selling a house in the future, we ask them, okay, tell me everything you lost. I lost my laptop. I lost my phone. I lost my dog. I lost my marbles. I lost everything. Good. What's the value of that stuff? Oh, okay. Your dog's worth $100,000 on the emotional scale. No problem. So that's $100,000 capital loss. Yeah, it's legal. It is legal for you and I to agree that something that you've lost is worth a set amount of money. Who could possibly tell me that this water bottle is not worth $100,000? I promise you. Whoa, here, watch. Oh my God. Oh my God. I just lost $16,000 in water. That's a capital loss. It's going on my ledger. Do you see how easy this whole thing is? And when they call saying we'd like to ask you some questions, no problem. Call my lawyer. Call my lawyer. There we go. So for those out there who want to tell me that what I'm doing is not legal, really, like, hasta la gofangulo, okay? There is absolutely nothing that you know more than I do. I've studied tax code since I was 13 years. I'll be 55. Actually, man, I'll be 55 in like 5 weeks. Holy crap. I didn't think I'd live this long, if you want the truth. And on top of that, I've studied corporate and criminal law for 20 years. Okay, guys? And I used to be an investigative journalist. I used to go all over the world. I've been to war zones. I have defeated a lot of people in the courts and just in general in settlement offers. All right. You're not going to tell me what the law is. So don't waste your time telling me things are not legal. Unless you have the same training I do and you've had the same amount of time in the courts as I've had, don't bother. And I'll block you if you keep it up. Alrighty. The Constitution has nothing to do with taxes, folks. You can't really make a constitutional argument with the CRA. There's no point. Just take the idiots to court, file criminal charges against them, sue the crap out of them, put liens on their homes. Forget the Constitution. Canadian lawyers suck. All right. Let's just come right out and say it. I hate Canadian lawyers. They're absolutely worthless. And the law societies right across the country have made it clear to lawyers, don't fight the CRA so that we can continue stealing from the Canadian populace. And the lawyers say, ready? Okay. That's what they do. They're useless. So getting a constitutional lawyer to do a constitutional challenge of any kind is almost impossible. These guys just don't want to do it. In fact, lawyers are to the point now, they just keep asking for retainer money. But they don't do anything. And that's the country you live in. That's why I'm telling all of you, just get the freaking hell out of there. How do you avoid paying a lot of tax in RRSP? I was hoping that question was going to come up tonight. Here's how. All right. This is where I get, this is where I'm doing my calf raises right now. I'm really pumped about this one. I figured it out, guys. I can get you 100% of your RRSP money back legally with absolutely no tax whatsoever. And I'm going to pay you 5% on top of that after an 18-month investment, just like that. So if you have RRSPs, RESPs, TFSAs, even that old stupid GIC garbage, or LIFs or RIFs, we transfer them to my brokerage house, and then we invest it properly, not like the clowns in Canada. What's your return, everybody? What are all of you making on your investments in Canada? 2%? 2.5%? How would you like 5%? And it's guaranteed 5%. That's how good I am at investing. All right. 5. Boom. Someone's getting 8%. Someone's getting 39%. So you guys have got good investors there. 8's not bad these days. I'll tell you that right now. 3, someone's getting 3. Someone's getting 80% of your investments. Is that what? That's all crypto, right? right? So, what are you getting here, folks? Really, from your RSPs or your lifts and riffs and everything else, you're getting a lot of bullshit. You're getting rules thrown at you. All right, it is horrendous when you want to get your money back and you've been trusting some financial institution to hold on to your money for you, like your RSP, and they lie to you saying that in order for us to give you back all your money from your registered retirement savings plan, we have to hold 30%. It's the law. We could lose our license. We could go to jail. That's what they say. None of that's true. There's not one law in Canada that says that a bank or a trust co or an insurance company or an investment brokerage house has to hold back 30%. That is a CRA policy. That's it. It's not the law. It's a policy. But these losers cave in. You know why? They know you're not going to sue them. They know you're not going to go and file charges at the courthouse for fraud and theft. They know. You should, but they know you won't. And that's why they just lie to you and you all accept it. And I could never accept 30% of anything. I'm not giving you 30%. You're telling me you're acting as my tax agent? Fuck you, you are. Nobody is going to control my money. And all of you need to have that same attitude. No, I'm not going to allow this. Regardless, everybody, I have figured this out. So if any of you out there actually want 100% of any of your government investments back, now's the time. So just go to my website, KevinJJohnston.com. Here we go. Type it in. And only communicate through my website. I beg you all, do not, under any circumstances, talk to me or anyone else through DMs on social media. It's not us. And if you are currently, and I'm sure some of you are on TikTok right now, getting messages from someone named KevinJJohnston, obviously it's not me. Okay? My hands are here, folks. All right? I'm in my studio right now. I'm not typing DMs or anything to any of you. And I will not talk to anybody through social media DMs. Go to my website. Let's get some money back in all of your hands. Alrighty. Suggestions for your parents' real estate. Do I start a trust? Excellent question. Now, trust. Everyone says trust. Everyone talks about these trust things. I don't like them. Why? Because most of you don't need them. A trust comes in really handy if you've got a house, a condo, a cottage, another house, a couple houses over there, and a summer home in Maui, whatever it is. If you've got 5, 10, 15 properties, a trust is wonderful. It's great. But you don't need it if you've only got one house and a bank account and a car. You don't need that at all. So what we do instead is we use numbered corporations as the trust in place of it. Why? Trust, $40,000 to set up. Listen, you folks, you find people out there want to give me 40 grand to open a trust, I'll take it. But I'm telling you, it's not necessary. I'm the only guy out there that will forego a $40,000 windfall so that I can tell you the truth. Numbered corporation, the house goes into a numbered corporation. If your parents are both still alive and they got their brains intact, good. So what we do is we have them as 50-50 shareholders. But what happens here is upon their death, it's the corporate bylaws, not the will, that determines who gets their shares. So with myself, I mean, obviously, I've had sex a couple times and I created a couple of creatures from my loins. I loosed them about 25 years ago. When I die, they don't get my house. They don't get my houses, plural. They don't get my condos, plural. They don't get my businesses, plural. They get the shares. So there's no land transfer tax. There's no BS, no probate. They just get the shares. That's how we do it. We want to make sure that all of you are doing this, because every single time someone dies, all right, I get a little bit pissed off saying this because this happens all the time. And I really hate listening to an adult look me in the eye and say, oh, I had a weak moment. Right? What does that mean? It means you were a coward. Somebody bluffed you and you folded. That's what it means. It means you know nothing about the outside world. You assume that everything that you do is illegal because you're gutless and you screwed up. I hate hearing that. Weak moment. My God. Oh, don't you just want to screw their mouths shut forever when they say that kind of stuff to you? When someone dies, let me tell you what almost everybody does. Where? Facebook. Daddy died. X. Daddy died. And I could name a whole bunch of social media platforms. TikTok, Minds, Bright, Eon.social, Getter, Parler used to be around. People get online and why do you want sympathy from strangers? Nobody cares. Everyone's living their own lives. So you're on social media looking for people to console you instead of doing the right thing. Here's the right thing when someone dies. Mourn. Tell the world to fungu for 3 days. You guys, you remember that movie with Brad Pitt? Troy, that one. Where there was 3 days given to the king of Troy. We are not going to attack you for 3 days so you can mourn the death of your son. Brad Pitt's character killed the guy off. But that's what I'm talking about. That 3 days to mourn, that goes all the way back to combat times. Like we're talking thousands of years ago. And it's still allowed today. Mourn. That's what you do. Spend 3 days, cry your eyes out, go through photo albums privately. And at the end of the third day, that's when you start making your decisions. Most of you out there make phone calls to the bank. Oh, Daddy died, Mommy died. Yeah, so what's the bank going to do? They freeze everything. Then you call the CRA. Oh, Daddy died. And they send you assessments in a day. Like, holy shit, this guy just died. Boom. The demands for money go right out the door. Then when you're on social media telling the world that, oh, mom and dad died, guess what happens? Oh, geez, I'm so sorry your dad died. Listen, I got to get the $4,000 back that he borrowed from me. That bullshit starts. I know. I used to be married a long time ago. I went through this when my father-in-law died. The vultures just kept showing up, wanting to take his power tools. Like, dude, this shit don't belong to you. All right? Get out of here. I had to sit on the front porch of his house for 3 days telling everybody, get the fuck out of here. You can't have tools. What, you remember now that you loaned him a hammer and a lawnmower? Today? Of all the days in the last 50 years? Now? You remember? That's what happens, everyone. So shut the fuck up. When someone in the family dies, be quiet. That's your private time. Now, let's talk about the money facet. You get a death certificate. You very quietly go to the bank. Hi, my father passed away 3 days ago. I've mourned. I would like to have the money extracted from the account, please. Cashier's check or money order or whatever is fine. Now, in most cases, when you walk in there calm and your eyes aren't bloodshot red and you're not doing all this sniffing crap, they'll be respectful. You walk in the manager's office and you can leave with cash in some cases, if it's a small amount, like 10 grand or less, or you leave with a money order, cashier's check, the bank draft. That's the word I'm looking for. And then you simply call the insurance company and say, yeah, listen, my father passed away. We just need to get the insurance canceled. If you go to the land registry office or you go through a good lawyer, there's not many around, but you get a good one and you just very quietly have the lawyer do the land transfer for you. If it's in your parents' name, transfer it into a corporation, not your own name, period. And then when you have drained every bank account, you've cashed out every insurance policy, you've moved all the property into corporations, not your own name, but into corporations, including things like cars and trailers and trucks and boats and all that. When everything's been transferred, now you make phone calls to people. Hey, yeah, did you hear my dad died? Yeah. Sorry, I've been really busy with the paperwork. And that's when you look for your sympathy. That's when you start creating little party get-togethers with friends of yours and having wings and beer and reminiscing and so on. But you got to be a businessman. When someone dies, be a businessman. Protect everything you've got and do it the right way. In death, everybody's at you for money. The worst ones are the freaking funeral homes. I hate those guys where they'll say, listen, if your loved one really meant something to you, you're not going to go with the cardboard box for $50. What we'll do is get you into this $10,000 coffin with a refrigerator, espresso maker, and so on. Yeah, think about that. It's a coffin. So they're going to fill your loved one full of chemicals and shove them into a box, to which eventually, with all the decay in the body, there'll be gases building up in this coffin. The coffin's going to explode underground. The ground will sink a bit, and all the chemicals they put in the human body go into the groundwater. And you're paying for this. It's ridiculous. My old man, when he was on his deathbed, he grabbed me like this, fistful of chest hair. It really hurt. And he tells me, you put me in a cardboard box and you burn me. You don't spend money on me. You understand? Yeah, Pop. I got to hold his hand. I understand. I respect this. This is exactly what I'm going to do. So we put him in a cardboard box. And at the time, my children were toddlers. So I say, hey, guys, let's go. Let's go to the funeral home. Gave them crayons. I say, you draw pictures for Grandpa. And they spent the whole day drawing everything. We burned out 3 boxes of crayons together. We made it a private family ceremony. $50 box, $1,200 for cremation, and it was over. Then we just shut everything down. Well, I shut everything down quietly. My mother, I think we've talked about this one before, while I'm doing everything quietly behind the scenes, she made a phone call to the toll-free number of the CRA from the goddamn hospital 2 hours or less after my father had actually died. I was with him when he stopped breathing, and she's calling the CRA, oh, my husband's dead. Oh, my God, I don't want to go to jail. That's how she was. Yeah. So they couriered, which the CRA almost never does. They couriered an assessment, and she wrote him a fucking check. I had to stop payment on the check, and I had to have her declared mentally unfit to deal with her own finances because she kept writing checks to everybody who was asking for money. And it's the same idea, folks, out of the woodwork, people that I didn't even know. Oh, yeah, Kevin, yeah, your dad, yeah, he owes me $2,500. Can I get a check? I got really good at saying the F word for that 1 month span. This is what happens when you let your emotions take over everybody. Now, the smart thing for my father to have done, which I'm going to recommend here, is the house that he owned jointly with my mother should have been in a numbered corporation. All of his money should have been in a holding company, not in his personal name. So when he died, his shares would have just defaulted to my mother, magically, just default, and nobody would have ever received a phone call. The CRA would never have known because they would not have had a copy of that private shareholders agreement. The same thing with his car. But everything was in his name. Everything was in his name. So I had to do a ton of paperwork to get everything out of his name. I'm going to scold you all now. Smarten up, everybody. Grow up. You have to understand that one day you're going to be a corpse. I'm going to be a corpse. So are all of you. So prepare for it now. I don't have a will. I've got separate corporations with individual sets of corporate bylaws that dictate who gets what. And the corporate bylaws are better than wills because line number 1 in all of my corporate bylaw setups is that this corporation cannot ever be put into probate. And everybody who this corporation is relevant to will sign and swear, and there's nothing that can be changed at that point at all. That's how you do everything. Do not tell anybody that your loved ones are dead. Also, with reference to the CRA, we always do taxes on the deceased 3 years after death. Why? I'm going to tell you. Because the CRA likes to know who the executor is. That's private information. You don't have to tell the government who the executor is, period. You tell anybody you want to get money from, like the banks and so on, you tell them, hi, yeah, I'm the executor. But as soon as you have all the money done, all we do is we write a step-down letter stating that as the executor, it's a position that you didn't want, and I refuse to be the executor. We swear it in that you're stepping down. Now it's registered with the courts, and there is nothing the CRA can do 3 years later because their statute of limitations only goes back 2 years. Come on. That's genius, right? Now, every single CPA in the country and every single tax lawyer out there knows that this works, but they won't do it because they're afraid. They actually believe the CRA is some kind of police force that can pull their license. The CRA are a bunch of morons. That's all they are. Like ridiculously stupid people work there. you are allowed to protect everything that you want through legal contracts, through corporations, and through legal activity. Everything that we do is 100% legal. So I hope that answers your question, everybody. Please smarten up. Death is imminent. Prepare for it. That's all you got to do. All right, let's go back to your questions here. All right, Massey, I can't see that whole question there. Could I transfer money from an RRSP to an FSHA? Why would you want to do that? Why don't we take your RSP money and invest it in something good? But the answer is yes, if the broker has balls, which of course we do. Your pension is not growing, $35K. I can only move it to a RIF. Is there a way to get it out? Yes. You would transfer that to our brokerage house, and we're going to be able to get that entire amount to you in 18 months plus 5%, just like that. Yes. Okay. Oh, someone says, I jumped in when I heard you say something about 30% in taxes. Yes, I was discussing RRSPs, registered retirement savings plans, everybody, which are a complete and total scam. The Canadian government made you believe that you're going to be able to have money in retirement tax-free. It's a complete lie. They take 30. Sometimes, depending on how incompetent the individual is who's holding the RSP, they might go to 40. They might go to 48. They might do something stupid like that. So that is something that I have developed is the way to get you back 100% of your RRSPs. You have access to your mother's RSP. Is she still alive? If so, then you can become self-managed and invest it any which way you want. That's a very good idea. If a person dies with high RRSP amounts, it gets added to their income. Yes, but if there's no executor, then you cannot be billed for it. The only issue is that whoever holds the RRSP is going to hand over the 30%, which sucks. That's the biggest problem there. But again, if you do the taxes on the deceased 3 years later, and you stepped down as executor 3 years ago when those 3 years expired, then you're off the hook. How long will the CRA know that someone dies? Oh, okay. That's actually a very good question. All right. This is why I'm saying you got to be careful who you're talking to in life. It is remarkable how quickly everybody wants to just make a phone call to the CRA and just boom, send all this information out. John Smith died, 10:52 a.m. of cardiac arrest. But they do it typically because you let them. The CRA will know when you or your lawyer makes a phone call to them or sends in a registered letter saying that John Smith died. Here's John Smith's social insurance number. Then they cancel it. Now they know. Now they're going to start sending letters out with assessments. They're not even going to think about the amount of money that he may or may not have made. They're just going to put a big number down and send it to you. So, everyone, this is why when a loved one dies, you protect absolutely every single solitary piece of their information. What you even do, this is where it gets really good for yourself, is you make sure that you lie to the hospital or lie to the funeral home or anything else. If you really feel you're in such a big hurry to deal with the corpse in question, put down that they had 6 middle names. Yeah, there you go. His name was Stephen, Jake, Paul, Stephen, Michael, Jones. They're going to write all that shit down and they'll send that off. And that's completely inaccurate. They say, what's the social insurance number? I'll get back to you on that. And never get back to them on that. You are the one to close everything down 3 years later. That's how you do it. The CRA knows someone dies when you or the people representing you tell them. Got to be careful who you're dealing with. Okay. So let me just have a look now at the other chat rooms here. I'm going over to YouTube and have a look. Alrighty. So someone's asking me here about old age security. What about the old age security after they pass? Well, I mean, when you report to the CRA the person's dead, those of course are going to stop. You know that. And this is I am not going to recommend you do this. I'm just going to tell you that I know that it happens all the time. A loved one dies at home, and the adult children didn't really, I guess, do too much in their lives. So they take mom or dad, or they put them in a freezer, and they leave them in the freezer, and they keep taking mom and dad's OAS and whatnot. Guys, I think that's funny, but it's illegal. So, if you're going to do it, don't tell me about it. All right. I don't want to know. So what about it? Yeah, it'll stop, and they will send a final tax bill on that. My mother worked for the CRA and got added as an executor and paid the full amount in taxes this year. Your mother's not very smart. Sorry, but she's not. Your mother's someone that believed in the system, probably. And probably when working for the CRA, never actually looked into what the CRA really is, merely a collection agency with no authority of any kind. I'm sorry that your mother did that. She probably thinks she did the right thing morally and legally, and she didn't. She did nothing moral. Everything she did was actually immoral, because we all know that your tax dollars go into funding wars all over the world. That's not moral. That's evil. All right. Checking the other, checking X right now. What are my thoughts on the Amish? From what? A tax standpoint? I'm sorry. Could you rephrase the question? I have no idea what you're actually asking me there. I'm over in the Rumble room now, folks. Let's have a look here. If I'm going to be in a discovery with CIBC for an MVA, an old one, I'm suing them. Should I barely talk during that time? P.S. They owe me my part of 7 treatments as well, which they denied over some BS excuse. All right, guys, discoveries. Whenever you are in a discovery, and what that means is, let's say you get sued by someone and they think they're being smart. What they'll do is they'll file in the courts to have a discovery done. And that discovery is them asking you questions. Here are the questions. Do you have a house? Do you have a car? Do you have a vacation house? Do you have condos? Do you have rental properties? Do you have money in the bank? Oh, yeah? What bank? What branch? How much? Do you have crypto? Do you have gold, silver, gems? Yeah. Do you have stocks, bonds, mutual funds, debentures? Do you have anything at all in the way of an asset? They will ask you everything. Now, I think I've told you this story before where I lie. Now, first off, I don't cooperate with discoveries at all. And whenever they say, would you like to be under oath? I take the Bible in my hand and I raise my hand and they say, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? No. I'll put the Bible down. Then they say, well, you have to. I'm saying, actually, I'm a grown man. I don't have to do a goddamn thing. And they'll say, why do you not want to be sworn in? I say, well, because here's what's going to happen. You, and I'll point to the lawyer in them, you're liars. You're going to lie today. And I'm going to lie as well. So for me to state on the Bible to my God that I am going to tell the whole truth when I know for a fact that I'm not, that is a lie. So if I'm not under oath, when I take the oath, the answer is no. I do not want the good Lord Jesus himself to strike me down with lightning. There you go. Now what? So what they'll do is they'll continue with the discovery at that point, because it's not a court proceeding, guys. It's usually done in a private lawyer's office. So what's the correct answer to everything they ask? Come on, you guys know the answer to this question. Do you have a house? All of you, type the answer right now. Do you have a house? I'm waiting. Wait, let's see here. Come on. Let's see here. Okay, you're all saying no. Okay, no is correct. Okay, but it's a discovery. It's not run by a judge. It's run by some part-time plebe in a law firm. The correct answer is go yourself. Yeah, that's right, man. I actually did that for about 6 straight hours. It's very, very difficult to find a different way to say, go fuck yourself for 6 straight hours, but I did it. You do not have to answer questions in a discovery, but don't swear yourself in. Just tell them, go ahead. This stupid thing is your idea. Not interested. You think for a second I'm going to put anything on the line for you? This is how you got to talk, folks. And I had a really, 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 really bad day today. And I had some clown calling me up who was looking for $140,000 payment on a corporation I bought. And I snapped on the guy. I said, listen, man, you're calling me. I'm not getting paid for this call, but you are. How dare you waste my time where I'm not getting paid for the call? So you tell your client they're not getting paid. Don't ever call me again. That's the end of it. Talk like that, and everything is okay. Someone's saying I yawn a lot. No, my mouth is just really big. I got a really big mouth. It's not yawning. It's me breathing a little bit. Now you got to take air in. All right. For those who think I'm yawning, there is a trick to it. You mostly don't hear me breathing into the microphone because as this big yap is yapping, I'm actually breathing at the same time. There you go. So if someone asks you in a discovery, do you have a house? No. Or go to hell, or lick me, or whatever me. Do you have a car? Lick me. Do you have money? Like me? No, yes, no, don't know, don't care. You can be rude and vile and obnoxious in a discovery because it's not a courtroom. Just I'm telling all of you, do not go under oath when they hand you the Bible. Oh, one more thing. And I thought this was really interesting. There are many law firms out there that are not owned by those of the Christian faith or those of Christian culture. They don't have a Bible in their offices because they think a Bible is offensive. So you're in a discovery and you say, Bible, please. Bible. Give me a Bible. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. We don't have one here because, we're Muslim and it's a oh, well, then I guess I'm just going to have to walk out that door because I'm not swearing on your book. And I'm not going to make a public affirmation, and I'm not going to make a civil affirmation. Screw you. All right, folks? You are allowed to be boisterous and rude and callous and crass during these things. Show up. Don't swear yourself in. And then that way you can say, listen, I wasn't going to swear myself in, or they didn't have a Bible, or I didn't agree with the terms and conditions, whatever it is. And then you walk out. So long as you made the appearance, you're okay. All right. I know, Cosmico. I know. I'm just playing with you, boy. All right. What else we got here? How to transfer physical precious metals out of Canada securely. Please expand on your advice. Okay. Another excellent question. There are gold and there's just precious metal companies all over the place. There is one that I just started talking to on, I guess about this first week of this month, where the idea is to get your gold and silver into what's called an economic free zone, which is extremely close to the Panama Canal entrance, where your gold goes in there and sits in their safes. So I will actually have an answer for you on that one. And believe me, I'd like to get into that business myself, but it's a lot of capital to get into it. So I will find the appropriate private companies that can do this and make sure that they have the appropriate insurance in there just to ensure that you're always going to get your metals. Alrighty. Use the electric train that Trailer Park Boys did. Yeah. I've actually only ever seen one episode of that show, and that happened to be the episode I saw where that guy with the glass bubbles, where he has this electric train, and what do they put like marijuana or something on this electric train, which would go into the States, and the guys would put cash on the train, they'd bring it back. It was something like that. Yeah, I thought that was actually pretty funny. And the border guards were swearing at each other across the river. Yeah, there we go. Can you recover money from probate? Well, kind of. If something is in probate, typically what's been going on these days is lawyers are actually assigning themselves to probate without the family actually asking them to do so. You can fire the lawyer and say, listen, you are done. Give me back all my files now. And you can declare the probate over, at which point you can do whatever you want. However, if this lawyer has sent out everything to the banks and to everything because you went to the probate lawyer and didn't do it yourself, now the banks are going to tell you, well, you have this lawyer. We got to get a letter from that lawyer. You say, I fired the lawyer. The only solution you have at that point is to sue the bank. So would you people please stay the fuck away from probate? What is with all of you? Let me tell you what's going on with probate here. And I'm going to explain that one because I don't think the average person understands it. When someone dies, so many people out there get greedy. They just see a way to make money on the spot. And that is when everyone thinks that they are owed more. I phoned mom earlier in the day than you did every Christmas, so I get mom's car. But mom clearly says in the will, the car is to be sold and the proceeds to be divided. But, someone disagrees with mom. So they go get themselves a probate lawyer. Idiot. What do you think is going to happen? Any amount of money that you would have got from that car is going to the lawyer. Idiot. What is wrong with all of you? I don't want anything for free. I don't want a damn thing for free. Period. I want to work hard, which I do. 12, 13, 14 hours a day. That's not a complaint. That's only a statement. And I want to get paid for it, which I do. When someone dies, friends or relatives or whatnot, I'm not there doing like the roadrunner looking for free money. But amazingly, so many of you are. And as a tax guy, we see this all the time where my client calls up saying, my dad just died. I've got a mercenary brother and a psychotic sister who wants to put everything in probate. So I tell the guy or ask him, who's the executor? Now, if the answer is him, my client, I'm saying, okay, good. Go lock down all the bank accounts now or drain them now. You do that immediately because this probate nonsense usually takes 3 or 4 days for the lawyer to get it set and in place. You got to drain everything if you know that your siblings are going to be going after this in probate. But the worst thing is, this is why I told you earlier in this show to be quiet about somebody who dies, is because people that you don't know these people. Supposed friends or supposed long lost relatives and third cousins you've never met, they put stuff into probate. Yeah, it happens. They lie and they say, I'm the cousin. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll lie and they'll say, I'm the illegitimate brother, son, whatever it might be of this guy who just died. People, you got to protect yourselves, man. When someone dies, shut up. Stay away from probate, deal with it on your own, and then do everything else I said earlier in the show. All right, here we are. Is there any court case you've had with the CRA? Yeah, we had last year, 28 or 20, 29. And we won 28 of them on the RV Stinchcomb argument, which is the CRA refused to give us disclosure before the hearing took place, so it couldn't go down. We lost one of them because the judge just didn't like me. Mr. Johnston, I know who you are, and you may as well just go home because you're not going to win this. I'm thinking, wow, that's quite the error in law. Bias, malicious prosecution, holy crap. So I told my client, I whispered in his ear saying, we're going to lose, but I recorded everything, so we're going to win the appeal. And that appeal, you ready for this? That appeal comes up later this year. And that appeal was filed a year and a half ago. So they're way behind. And in that appeal process, Clause 7 of the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights states that in Canada, so long as amounts are in dispute, you do not owe tax dollars. So the client doesn't owe any tax dollars. And here's the other cool part. We moved his house into a corporation, moved his cars into a corporation, moved all of his money into a holding company. We did all that stuff. So even if he loses, it doesn't matter. CRA is not getting jack. Nothing. How do you get a refund of taxes if you've already paid to the CRA? Well, we have to redo your taxes. Remember, there's about 125 things that you can write off on the personal side of your taxes. We're going to go through everything you got and put down all the write-offs that you forgot to put forward. Now, here's the thing, though, folks. The CRA is taking anywhere between 10 and 24 months now to assess your tax files. It's ridiculous what they're doing, these people. So don't get excited and do not make any decisions, financial decisions, based on a tax return you think you're going to get. A lot of people screw themselves this way. Oh, look at this. I'm going to get $2,500 back. Let's go buy a large screen TV. And then, 18 months later, you still don't have your money back because the CRA is doing that deliberately. Don't spend money you don't have, folks. Don't get greedy. I hate that greed nonsense. All right. How would I transfer gold from Canada to Panama? I'm actually going to have an answer for you within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So sit tight. But you are allowed to bring up to $10,000 US of precious metals into the country. You can do that. So if you've got $9,000 in silver, bring it on down. You are absolutely allowed to do so. So if you want to do it in pieces like that, you certainly can. If you and your family of 5 all want to come to Panama, don't buy a family ticket. Just all of you buy individual tickets, and all of you have $9,000 in silver in your bags and walk in, have a vacation, go to a good restaurant, you can go to the water park, go whatever. But you got your silver in the country. You're absolutely allowed to do that too. Does the CRA have any authority to collect student loans? It was just an order in council. Sorry, I'm not understanding that question. The CRA does not facilitate OSAP student loans, by the way. That's the province. And one of the ways to get rid of a student loan is to sue the province for tort fraud and settle out of court by them just wiping out the OSAP debt. Okay. I cannot fit a full question in here. Okay. Is it possible to hire me? Absolutely. Go to my website, KevinJJohnston.com. It's on that beautiful blinking sign behind my skull right now. All right. Oh, hey, Cosimo, do me a favor. Email Jay and let him know that you wanted to go over the incorrect form there. I'm fine. You and I can chat about that one for 10 minutes. Thanks for letting me know. Okay. Someone's saying that you don't know who Fungu is. the Canadianized version of Italian profanity, all right? There we go. It's the 70s. You guys don't remember that one? Hey, Fungu, huh? That's what we used to say because we didn't know how to speak Italian. All right. What if the CIB sends you to their independent specialist doctor? Can you ask for his review note? Well, yeah. Okay, guys. If you are in some kind of medical dispute where an insurance company is trying to deny your claim and they want you to go see their doctor, yeah, don't shower for like 3 weeks. Just stink it up, baby. Go in there wearing disheveled clothing, but make sure that you have not 1, but 2 devices recording at all times. That's what you want to do. Yeah, stink it up, man. I'm telling you, I did that once before. It's like, what, 26, 27 years ago, I guess. Yeah, car accident, injury. It wasn't that bad, but I still wanted the 10 grand I was being promised out of the deal. And they said, well, we want you to go see our doctor. I said, yeah, when? They couldn't get me an appointment. So what I made sure right away, but it was like 8 or 9 days later. So I went to the gym every day and I did not shower. I smelled so freaking terrible, folks. I could not even go inside my own house. I wouldn't even sleep in my own bed. I bought a Coleman camping, what do we call those things? A cot. And I slept outside. And I walk in the doctor's office and you could see his face just go, it just dropped. So he put it down that I was a very unhealthy guy and I got my 10 grand. You play games, guys. Lie, deceive. It's okay. It's okay to lie to insurance companies. Screw those guys. I can't stand them anyway. All right. Next question here. Con Los Ojos. Do I need to report my money transfer business earnings to CRA? Absolutely not. Why would you tell the CRA about anything that you do? Everything you put on a tax return is voluntary. You can voluntarily not put stuff there. And as I've told everyone before, none of you actually want to do a tax return, right? You feel compelled. That's illegal to compel someone to do something. So that means you are under duress, which means you don't sign your name on the tax return. You, in script, cursive, put down the word duress. That's how I sign everything. I got driver's licenses from Ontario with the word duress on them. Don't sign your name on stuff, especially if there's no benefit to you. Period. All right. Hi, David. Thanks for saying so. I appreciate that. Your mother passed away 20 years ago and she had shares growing from her life insurance policy. Did you not cash that policy in? It might be time to either cash the policy in or transfer it to your name. Don't let something go that long. SR says, recent study came out saying that Canadians spend more on tax than basic necessities. That's 100% correct. That's why I'm telling all of you, don't pay tax. I haven't paid a penny of tax to the government since the year 2000, when I just gave up on the tax system and told them where to go. We can do the same thing for you. Can you put a house with a mortgage in a corporation? 100%. Absolutely, you can. 2026 says, wow, all these shares, and now we have to do another estate tax. What? Oh, wait a second. In relation to what I said about the transferring of shares, estate tax, what? If you have well-written corporate bylaws in a corporation where your house and your money is residing, the shares just transfer. The house is already in the corporation. The house is not transferring, and the shares just go to you by default. You're not legally obligated to tell the CRA who the shareholders of a corporation are. So you're incorrect. When your parents die or you die or whoever dies, and your house and property, your money and your cars and everything else are stored in numbered corporations, there's no tax because the shares just default to you. The only thing that you have to do is just go to the notary public and say, hi, how you doing? Here's the new corporate bylaws because mom and dad died. Swear them in. That's it. It's over. $25. There we are. Sigma says, I'm a huge fan. Can I ask why so many people are against you? Well, yeah, I'll tell you why. First off, Canadians like things quiet. I think we can all agree that Canadians are chickens, cowards, and so on. And they see this big mouth, this big obnoxious guy. And they already don't like me because I'm saying everything that they perhaps wish they could say out loud, but they're too afraid to. And then let me tell you this, guy. This is the truth. Most common thing I hear when somebody finally meets me face to face, I thought you'd be taller, right? When you look at me on camera, I don't know why everybody thinks I'm 6'2". I had no clue. I'm 5'6". So that was actually quite funny too. With Chris Sky, if you remember during that COVID stuff, when Chris Sky was also flipping off at the gums every single day, he's exactly my height. So Chris Sky and I are walking out. We're 5'6". We're feeling on top of the world, shaking hands and whatnot. And everyone says the same thing. Oh my God, those two guys are short. So you see a guy who's 5'6", lipping off the way that I do. And you see a guy who's 5'6", winning in court. And I've also put some crazy videos out. Like if you go on my TikTok channel, you'll see me doing a 500-pound deadlift. I mean, I like to be strong. So people look at the short guy and they get angry that the short guy's got so much of this figured out. That's number one. Number two, about 75% of Canada, they're left-wingers. Or they've got the boomer mentality of, I have the right to a comfortable life and I've got the right to nothing but silence whenever I want it and so on. Those people can't stand me because you know that I'm not a quiet guy. And I'm also the one to point out to those people, you don't have any such right to just be in silence all the time. You want that, go to Alaska. Go live in Tuktoyaktuk. Go way up there. You don't have that right. And I also don't respect people that think that way. I call everybody out on their crap. And a lot of the commentary that I make is exceptionally honest. And it is the kind of stuff that conservatives agree with, but the left-wing nuts disagree with. And I'm not going to get into what those things are, but they've called me every name in the book: Islamophobic, homophobic, transphobic, racist. They've called me everything. And I love it. They can't figure out why I get off on the insults. So how do you insult somebody who gets off on insults? And how do you silence a guy who is on a mission from God, if you will? I want the CRA to collapse. I want them gone. And I'm not going to stop until they are gone. Now, how do you stop somebody with that level of belief? That's why I am disliked by about half the country, probably. Yeah, biggest mistake that anybody can make is do business in Canada. I agree. Absolutely. David says, hey, I'm fine with Canada. I grow coffee in Jamaica. I haven't made income in Canada for over 10 years. Okay. But if you're making money, I'm happy for you. Don't like Canada. Can't make money there. Too many left-wing nuts are on my case all the time. And hey guys, remember this big mouth here? There's a lot of politicians out there that don't like a big mouth like this one, calling them out, or in general, just being more entertaining on stage, because I can go straight to the radio voice. My name is KevinJJohnston. I am the best choice for mayor of this town. Why? I'm going to make you all rich. Here's how. They don't like that, because every politician out there, they're boring. Hi, my name is Jen, and vote for me for mayor. I'm going to make sure you got the right for free money. So how is it that you outdo a guy who can be in front of any camera any time of the day? You can't. They hate that, right? So what I'm getting at, everybody here, is it's okay to not be liked by losers. It's okay to not be liked by the broke who will never be customers of yours. It is okay to be disliked by crazy people who believe crazy things. And one more thing, the more that any of you are hated for speaking the truth like I do, the more free advertising that you get. Look my name up in the year 2021. I made the front page of every newspaper in the country, running for mayor of Calgary, right? Because they didn't want me winning. They just didn't. And all the left-wing media, they had their side of the story, but not one asked for my side of the story. Not one. I didn't get a single phone call from any news outlet in the country. Not one. So there you go. And but the advertising, but $50 million in free advertising. It was awesome. The Outlaw says Canada is in bad shape and going downhill, while most still think it's all lollipops and rainbows. Yeah, they're idiots. They're stupid. And here's the best part about stupid people. You can simply walk away, right? You don't have to save these people. You don't have to sit there and whip them into intelligence. You can't force anyone to be smart. And you certainly cannot, you can't talk to a horse. Stupid people are like horses. Yeah. Hey, horsey, there's water. It ain't going to drink. All right. It might turn around though and eat grass. All right. When you're saying drink, it'll eat grass. You tell the horse, hey, that grass is from Chernobyl. It's radioactive. It's going to kill you. It's still going to eat the grass. These stupid people are just like that. Ignore them. Stay away from them. CRA is demanding $90,000 in installment payments for my Ontario holdco. Do I pay it? No, but you got to make sure I'm your tax guy. Tell you what, Joe, sell me that company and I will take all of that debt away from you in anywhere between 2 and 10 days. It'll be done. All right. Shoot over to my website right now. Go to the corporate acquisitions, sell me your corporation page, and I will take that entire company and all that debt right off of your hands. And for those who want me to run for the mayorship of Mississauga, why? That would be a pay cut. All right. I think the salary is $240,000 a year. That's a pay cut. I make that every month. Yeah, so why? You know, two times I went around the city of Mississauga explaining to people, guys, yeah, if you go with this liberal nut job here, you're going to be broke. But if you go with me, I've got an economic plan that puts Mississauga on the map and puts you in a position where your property tax is frozen for 5 years and you can all make some money. But because some loser at the Mississauga News said I was racist, all of you said, no, I can't vote for Kevin. We got to vote for Bonnie. She's going to bankrupt us, but we got to vote for her because no media outlet called her racist yet. But if they did, they wouldn't vote for Bonnie. Mississaugans, you're stupid. All right. You don't deserve me. I've got an economic plan that would absolutely make Mississauga completely tax-free. But I'm not going to do it for you. You had your chance twice. You thought it was going to be a lot more fun to roll your window down and scream at me saying, you're racist, because the retards at the CBC told you to. You think for a second I care about your economic futures? You think I care about Canada at all? Hell no, I'm not running for public office. Guys, I told you earlier in the show, the country's dead. It's okay to now look out for you and your loved ones. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I do a great job for my clients, but I'm getting paid. And for everybody out there who feels that they want me to save them, go look somewhere else. You could have put me in office 3 separate times. You didn't do it. I don't care anymore. And it's amazing how much freedom that I've got to just say, when I'm rich. And I want the same for all of you, by the way. Anybody out there who doesn't understand money, I would like you all to maybe start to understand what money is. And I want to make a comment about that actually now. So if you remember during 2021, when my podcast had about 360,000 people a day watching, I decided to take advantage of that opportunity to teach all of you how money really works. I did a 5-part show going right back to 5,800 years ago and how money is created and how it circulates and how it's all lies and whatnot. And what really pissed me off is everybody in the comment, Kevin, this is too much information. This is too complicated for me. I can't figure out what you're saying. I don't understand. So where on the Monday we had 360,000 people watching, we had 40,000 watching on the Friday. I thought, why don't we just give these idiots what they want? Let's rant and rave about the government. Yeah, Justin Trudeau. Blah, 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 blah. And what happened? The numbers went right back to 360. So in a lot of cases, everybody, the vast majority of the population doesn't want to be educated. They don't want to understand money. And if you don't understand how fiat currency works, you're never going to be rich. If you all believe that money actually is a real thing and that you should actually pay tax, if you believe these things, then you're never going to open your mind to new possibilities, like how to actually create your own currency, which I'm in the process of doing now. You're not going to get it. Getting angry with me was also a very strange thing. You're angry with me because I wasn't doing the rah, screw the government type of show. I was actually educating you. I was giving you university level shit, man. This was good stuff I was giving everybody. And you all got mad because it was too intense. You didn't understand it, so you didn't want to try to understand it. You all went and watched the hockey game and came back the following week when I went back to screaming and yelling. My God, come on, everyone. That ain't on me, by the way. I tried. Believe me, I tried. I'm done trying. I'm going to make money now. Okay. How would you evaluate the capital loss of I literally saw my dog get crushed by a car with my children? Okay, so spicy pork chop, what I would do is I would put what we call an emotional value on something. The animal itself would be a comfort animal. It's you could just take a picture of a leash. You could just get it off the internet if you want, or have AI create it, of a leash saying service animal. And the service animal's training cost you $100,000. Ergo, that dog had $100,000 of training value, plus it had the emotional value, which kept your mind stable. Who's to say that's not worth $150,000? And I'm going to put the capital loss down on the loss of your pet. It's legal. If it's legal, we do it. Who is to say what anything is worth? You guys have all seen modern art where you look at when some guy paints with ketchup, just goes with a big paintbrush, ketchup. And maybe he gets a monkey to throw some green paint on top of the ketchup. Ta-da, $25 million, please. First off, that's money laundering. You know it's money laundering. But at the same time, let's imagine that they're not laundering money by putting really big price tags on this modern art crap that you see. Huh? Who's to say that it's not worth $25 million to somebody? Who's to say? All right. Everyone's got their own taste, and you really can't put a value on taste for absolutely everybody. Now, I've had this conversation many times with men and women alike. Here's a prime example. I absolutely want to date women who are 5'5", down as low as 5 feet, who weigh less than 125 pounds, and who are incredibly fit. That's my preference. That has high value to me. But at the same time, a lot of you out there may not like that. And you see no value in a woman like that. Okay, well, who's to say what the value is? And that's just a very easy, it's a silly example, but it's an easy one to comprehend. Taste is yours. And that is how we do it in the tax game. Taste is yours. Value is yours. A woman like I just mentioned there, who knows when the conversation's over, of course, has high value. I don't perceive women outside of that to have high value, but you might see the exact opposite. High value. Good. That's your value. Now, this dog we're talking about here, if you say the dog is worth $150,000 to you, then I would have you sign an affidavit stating the value of the dog is $150,000, and we just put that down. There we go. Guys, it's objective, but we can make anything that's objective subjective by putting it down on a piece of paper and swearing to it. It is that simple, everybody. So don't be afraid to allow your personal taste to have value, right? This is your life, not theirs. We'll do it our way because it works. All righty. Is the Estate Tax Act a code like the income? Yeah, if it has the word act, it's exactly the same thing as the Income Tax Act. Yes, it goes through the legislative process, but it's almost in every case a guideline for select institutions to write policy and enforce their policies on the public. And like I've told you before, I don't give a rat's ass about CRA policy. I'm not a rule follower. I obey the law, but I don't obey the Income Tax Act because that's not the law. It's just junk. Do you have a book on how to handle the CRA and on everything you offer? Okay. You know, a lot of people are telling me, Kevin, write a book. But Kevin, don't actually write the book yourself. Get AI to do it. No, I'm not doing that at all. So I am, when I have time, I'll spend an hour or two just making sure that my facts are correct. And I will dictate my book. I got a really high-end microphone here that you can see. And I've got incredible, what do you call it, software called Typeless that actually types pretty much everything I'm saying exactly as I'm saying it. Excuse me. The biggest problem with writing books, it's to get the ideas out are easy. Studying the facts and then calling my lawyer and getting a legal interpretation, that part's also easy. Time consuming, but easy. The toughest part about books, everybody, is getting a good editor. Yes, because it is very easy for you to repeat yourself 5 or 6 times when you're writing chapters on different days. A good editor, not an AI person, like a good editor that actually reads the book, makes notes on paper with a pen, and then shuffles it around. They're worth their weight in platinum. I'll tell you that right now. That's the only thing that stops me from putting books out on a regular basis is I just do not have access to a good editor. Not a ghostwriter. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an actual editor. And that seems to be a very difficult thing to find. Actually, it is difficult. It's not seems to. It's a very difficult thing to find. But yes, I'm working on 2 books simultaneously because the content is kind of interchangeable. It's about how to crush auditors. And the other one is about how that stupid FinTrack nonsense really works and how to avoid them and how to beat them. And in fact, guys, you'll love this one. You'll be very proud of me. I gave a big 2-hour speech yesterday to a lot of investors down here in Panama, explaining FinTrack and how FinTrack is, out of all the international institutions out there who supposedly police international commerce, FinTrack is the weakest by a lot. So long as you tell them to go F themselves every time they contact you, you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter that FinTrack says, oh, we know you sent $140,000 to Mexico. Yeah, congratulations. Have a nice day. But people say, yeah, I was buying a condo. And you justify yourself. You talk to these people. Part of the whole book message is shut the fuck up. That's lesson number 1. Shut up. Stop talking to these people. Just because FinTrack phones you and says, we know you made a transaction, doesn't mean you start talking. Congratulate them. Hang up the phone. It is that simple. FinTrack is afraid of me because I did that 6-hour show. I split it up over the course of 3 weeks. I did 6 hours worth of debunking FinTrack. I invited that crazy Sarah Paquette, and she is crazy, the commissioner. I invited her on the show to defend her stance and tell us why we should care about FinTrack. Of course, she denied. She declined. She wasn't going to come on the show. And the biggest thing about FinTrack, everyone, is I showed you what their hiring policies are. They are not hiring white, Canadian-born Christian men who speak English. You have to be a complete freak of nature to work for that institution. Their hiring policies are the stranger and dumber and more mentally ill you are, the more likely you are to be hired by FinTrack. So what that means here is they're not hiring people with skill. They're hiring the dregs of humanity. You may as well put raccoons in office. I'm telling you, it's just... So when I'm teaching you all of this stuff, yeah, you're here in the comments saying, "Oh, Kevin, you're great, you're awesome." You don't tell me this stuff. Just say, "Hey, thank you for the lesson. Now I'm going to tell them to get lost." Like I'm standing here right now mocking FinTrack, mocking them. And I literally am working with companies in Panama and Grenada and Dominican Republic, Barbados, and the Cayman Islands, where we are moving hundreds of millions of dollars a year combined for my clients. FinTrack may or may not know about them, but what are they going to do with that information? Kevin moved money. Now what? If we call him, he's going to be really rude on the phone. So what do? And they're going to say, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Guys, since I've taken $1 billion away from the CRA in the last 2.5 years, I have not received one phone call from FinTrack and not one phone call from the cops. Not one. Because I'm not breaking the law. It is okay for you to ignore these institutions. Scream at them, shout at them, call them names, hang up the phone. Don't talk to them. All right, next. And someone just said, down with Maple MAGA. I don't even know what that means. All right. Would you have left if the Conservatives were still in power? Yes, I would have left Canada if the Conservatives were in power because Canadians don't know jack. They know nothing about business. I don't want to be around bad business people anymore. I really don't. Yeah. When I'm dealing with Panamanians or Argentinians or Americans or whatever else, and they're all here in Latin America, decisions get made and we make money. Whereas in Canada, for whatever the reason, I'm always talking to a committee. I don't get it. I'm not going to try to convince a committee of anything. We're going to do, we'll have our meeting. I'm going to tell you what I figured out, what the strategy is. I'm going to tell you the price, and you're either going to say, get lost, or here's the money. That's how I do business, and that's not how Canadians do business. So, no, I would not still be in Canada, even if it was a conservative-run country. Warrior Princess, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Somebody says they saw me as a sunshine boy one year. No, that was my twin brother, Jake, I think. Wasn't me. Not yet. Is a capital loss that easy after the trauma the kids and I faced watching the dog be crushed by a car? Yes. That is not something I would lie to you about. Look, I've lost friends, I've lost loved ones, I've lost relatives, I've lost cats, and I've lost dogs. I don't find anything about the loss of someone or an animal that you have an emotional attachment to funny. Nothing I'm saying is for dramatic purposes. Nothing that I'm saying here is to be humorous. I understand where you're coming from. And yes, I am very serious about that. Just look at the eyes, man. Do I look like I'm kidding about that? Yes, that's exactly what we do. Did you see that the CRA now wants a T4A for owner operators and sole proprietors? Hey, you ever hear this one? You can wish in one hand and you can shit in the other. And in 1 week's time, you can then tell me which one filled up first. Oh, yeah. Come on. We don't care what the CRA wants. It's policy. If the CRA says that's our policy, okay, good. Well, my policy is to tell you to get lost. It's that easy, everybody. So there we go. Doesn't Panama have a tax treaty with the CRA? No, man. No. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I have to just, I'm going to ask you to think a little bit differently today. And I'm not insulting anybody when I say this. But do you think that Panamanian banks will make money phoning the CRA in the hopes that the CRA person speaks English or Spanish to say, hi, Roger Ramjet from Toronto came to Panama, sat in our office, opened up a bank account, and put $18,000 in the bank. Would you like us to hold some of that tax money back? Do you think that they would make money if they did that? The CRA says a lot of stupid stuff. And that's one of the things they say, that they've got tax treaties and they'll list like 120 countries that supposedly make phone calls to the CRA to say, John Smith has money in this bank account. They don't do that. That wouldn't make money. It is only Canada that seems to want to snitch on everybody. All right, think about that. Canadian businesses snitch. They call FinTrack. Oh my God, I just sold a house. Here's all the person's information. Or they'll get a phone call from someone saying, give us money. Oh, okay. Just don't put me in jail. Okay, here's all the information. Oh. Canadians do that. The rest of the world doesn't, because being a gutless shill, sharing information with everybody else, chases customers away and doesn't make money. So the answer is no. The Panamanian government and Panamanian banks are not calling the CRA to snitch on you. Period. All right. Frank says, I want to sell my house, maximum TFSA, and invest the rest normally. All dividends. How to not pay tax? First off, never pay dividends. Oh my geez. Okay, guys. Dividends is the A word, the B word, the C word, the F word, the N word. It's every single word combined. Dividends are a bad word. Why would you tell the CRA anything about your money? If you sell your house, shut up about it. Put the money in the United States. Call me, put the money here in Panama. Put the money into crypto. Put the money onto a prepaid credit card and walk over the border in the States with it. Don't tell anyone about the money on your house. And for the love of Jesus, for everything holy, do not let a lawyer handle your money when it comes to the sale of your house, because they will pay off every creditor that you have. And they'll say, well, we had to. No, you chose to. So just be quiet about everything, period. Do not get a TFSA in Canada. Do you think that because the government calls something tax-free, that it's tax-free? Do you really think that? Because if so, I'm wearing a pair of underwear right now with approximately 9 inches of skid marks inside that I could sell to you for $250,000. And I promise you that if you buy them and put them on your forehead, you will have good luck forever. What I just said sounds really stupid and childish, doesn't it? That's exactly the same thing that the TFSA is. It's stupid and it's childish. And for anyone to buy into the idea that the Canadian government's going to give you something tax-free is asinine. It is, honestly, you behaving like a child. Don't invest money in Canada. Do not utilize RRSPs, RESPs, GICs, TFSAs, lifts or RIFs. These things are all a ripoff. The government of Canada just takes your money. Move your money out of Canada, and you'll find that all of a sudden you're a little bit wealthier. In fact, you're a lot wealthier. Lord, have mercy. So let me get back now to dividends. This is going to sound crass, but that's what you're here for. Have a look at the 1958 Edsel Citation convertible car with the hardtop roof. It's a big car. I think it's 22 feet long, if you want the truth. It probably weighs 3 tons. That thing is massive. I would be equally critical of you putting that car in your own anus as I would you writing down a T5 and reporting a dividend to the CRA. Dividends are absolutely ridiculous for the following reasons. Number one, you're telling the CRA you've got money somewhere. That's like right off the hop. Number one, you told them, hi, I've got stuff. I've got houses, I've got condos, I've got cars, I got gold, I got silver, I got cash. Tax me some more, please. Look into my life a bit more. That's the first thing that you're saying. Number two is that the Income Tax Act is so poorly written when it comes to dividends that the CRA is charging whatever they want in the way of tax on those things. We have seen a few people now at 48% tax on their dividends. Now, here's the most common thing that CPAs tell you. Oh, you sold a house, you made too much money. Let's give you a dividend to try to reduce your taxes. It doesn't work. You pay more tax. Or they'll say, hey, your corporation made too much money this year, so let's get you a write-off on your corporation that you're only going to pay about 23% tax on and give you a dividend that you're now going to pay 48% tax on. These accountants are absolutely out of their minds. So everyone, I'll repeat myself. If you sell your house, shut up about it, move the money out of Canada immediately. And as for TFSAs, don't do it. Don't invest in Canada. You're wasting your time. What exactly would you invest in Canada, by the way? 95% of the oil wells are capped. Just about every mine is either being shut down or is now owned by communist China. And as it stands, Canadian beef is no longer number one in the world. Canadian wheat is no longer number one in the world. Canadian healthcare is number 63 in the world. The education system is like number 45. What exactly do you think you're going to get in return for your money? Canada sucks. And it's really unfortunate because the landmass itself is gorgeous. It is. Niagara Falls is beautiful. Northern Ontario is gorgeous. When you get down to Quebec City, that place is absolutely immaculate. I love that place. But I don't like the way the people are anymore. And I certainly don't like the politics. And I cannot stand the fact that none of our cities are Canadian cities anymore. And you cannot make money in Canada. So as gorgeous as it was for me to walk out my front door when I was living in Calgary and look west, and from peripheral to peripheral, right across the entire horizon, to see the Rocky Mountains. And then when the sun would go down behind them, to see the Rocky Mountains turn purple with an orange, yellow, and red sky. It's beautiful. I kind of miss seeing that stuff, but I cannot be there because I cannot make money there. And I will not invest in anything there. And I recommend that none of you do either. So if you do have TFSAs, and you have them in some kind of an account anywhere, a brokerage account anywhere, transfer them to my brokerage house, and then we can help you transfer them into the States. And that way there's no tax on any of that. Who's the guy behind me on the screen? Well, it's yours truly. All right. When this thing pops, there we go. This graphic right here. All right. This, you guys can see it there. You've all seen this before. All right. That shit-eating grin, they call it. Let me tell you a story. Real simple. I hired a photographer for the day, and there was two of us who we had assembled a couple of graphic novels, and we were actually going to be taking these things to all the production companies in the States when they were done to try to sell the rights to get a movie deal out of it. All right, so we're posing. I got the suit and tie on. Yeah, and we're doing all this stuff. Everything that you would see in a GQ magazine, we were doing. And I looked at this guy's film reel when we were done shooting. He had a nice camera, so everything was crystal clear. But I told him that this sucks. And I just looked at him and said, "Hey, do me a favor, buddy. Hey, get ready, take a picture. You suck." All right, and this big smile on my face, boom, he snaps the photo. And that's the one that I use. All right. The last picture of the day when I was actually angry. That's what my face looks like when I'm angry. Telling him that he was horrible. And there you go. So that's the history behind that image. All right, checking more of your questions here. Can I have a company where I work and not deduct RRSPs or income tax off my own paycheck? Whoa, wait a second here. Hold on. If you have a corporation, don't put yourself on a T4. Why do people do this? You have a corporation, and if you run it properly, you pay zero tax. Zero. But then you put yourself onto a T4, now you're paying 6 taxes. That's crazy, isn't it? So if you have a corporation, first off, why are you putting money into an RRSP? You're going to get tagged 30 to 40% when you cash it in the future. That's number one. Number two, you're putting yourself onto a T4, now you're paying income tax. And you're never going to get that money back. You know that. So just live your life out of the corporate bank account and be quiet about it. It is that simple. What's the point of doing all this paperwork for free? You're doing all this personal tax paperwork for free. No one's paying you for your time. And then you're giving money away on top of that. Come on, that's crazy, isn't it? All right, everyone. Yeah, so Nomi, you make a good point here. You're saying that my doppelganger just followed you. Guys, I don't follow people on TikTok. I just don't. So if you're being followed by a Kevin J. Johnston or KevinJJohnston, however they spell it, or Kelvin, it ain't me. Block them. I've got one TikTok account, real Kevin J. Johnston. That's it. Everybody else is a scammer. And remember this, if you get scammed, I'm not helping you get your money back. That's not the line of work that I'm in. Protect yourselves at all times. You're starting a digital business, and this is Marquesa. So you're starting a digital business. What's the best way to structure it? Well, corporation, number one. Number two is typically I recommend running it out of the province of Ontario We have an address you can use there, by the way. And in Ontario, I recommend that because that province has about 14.5 to 15 million people living there. That province is a complete and total mess. It's a wreck. So you can pretty much do whatever you want there in the way of business, and no one's going to know anything because the courts are anywhere between 2 and 7 years behind, which is awesome. Plus, you're charging 13% HST. And if you join my HST program, you get 30% of your HST back every single month as investment capital to do whatever you want with. And then from there, you make sure I'm your tax guy, and we only tell the CRA what they need to know, not what they want to know, and you will make a boatload of money. All right. Oh, guys, if anybody wants an American bank account, but you live in Canada and you don't travel to the States a lot, relay.com. All you got to do is make sure you have an address somewhere in the United States. There's a lot of people out there that have addresses you can rent. Relay.com. They're kind of like Coho and Tangerine. All right. And Warrior Stan says, your side hustle should be one night comedy hours. You're hilarious. Well, you know, I used to do stand-up comedy in the past, and I miss it from the standpoint of the reactions of the crowd. But I promise you, stand-up comedy, no matter how funny somebody is, it doesn't pay. It just making people laugh is awesome. I love doing it. I love entertaining people, and I certainly want to make sure that when I'm educating you, that I'm entertaining you, because people will learn two ways. Number one, if they're pissed off beyond reproach and they hate you, and number two, if you entertain them. However, if you're pissing them off, they're actually not learning. They're just remembering who you are, not the lesson. If you entertain them, they remember the lesson more so than the man. At comedy, if I was to crack the jokes I really want to crack, the entire left wing would have strokes and heart attacks on the spot. Maybe I should. Population control, you know, maybe I should. All right. So do you have to own your house free and clear before you can transfer into a holding company? Nope. We covered that earlier in the show. What makes more sense, to sell you a company that owes $400K or hire you to negotiate with the CRA? Oh my God. That negotiation would be 2 to 3 years at least. Sell me the company. Let's start you over at zero. Would you rather, let me ask you a question. Would you rather see this face in your chat room for the next 2, 3, possibly 4 years while we fight the CRA? Or would you rather just get a brand new corporation and start over at zero and let me fight the CRA with your debt belonging to me? So one is 3 or 4 years and one is like a month. Which one would you rather use? Hey, there you go. I'll put that one back onto you. Who can manage the sale of my home? How does the seller receive the money? Well, here's what we do for our clients now is we tell the opposing agent, hey guys, what's up? We're not using a lawyer. I'm a legal agent, not a lawyer. Here is the bank account information that everything can be transferred to. Let me know when it's done, please, so that we can finalize the deal. And if they say something stupid like, well, we only deal with lawyers. Okay, then you're no longer the agent that I'll be talking to. So if this guy wants to buy my house, you can piss off. How's that sound? You're banned from my property and you are not going to get a penny from me. As soon as you tell these real estate agents who want to follow the rules, you're not going to pay them, they leave. So you can sell the house privately if you want. I really don't like real estate agents. A lot of them are such a pain in the ass. They really are, because they want to follow the rules and they want to talk to FinTrack. I have to talk to FinTrack. I'm a grown adult, but I have to talk to FinTrack because somebody said, I'm not even sure who said, but I'm going to. Not with me, you're not. Period. So that's how we do it. We do actually help a lot of people manage their homes. Yeah, everybody, you're right. There are too many documents, if you're a Canadian citizen, that you have to fill out on a regular basis. I absolutely hate doing paperwork, especially when I'm not getting paid for it. And I don't do anything where I don't get paid, period. If the government says I have to do something, I send them a bill. And as soon as they pay the bill, I'll consider thinking about the possibility of giving a shit enough to try to want to do that paperwork. The hell with them. I am not under any circumstances working for free. Period. When you open a corporate bank account, you have to put a name on the account as well. Typically the director or your lawyer. If you have a lawyer or a paralegal or a legal agent that you've assigned to it, they can sign their name on it. Their social insurance number won't be on there because they are a representative and not a director. Never be the director of a corporation, by the way, folks. The director is not the owner nor the controller. The shareholders are. The director is just the sucker that the CRA will chase for money afterwards, which is why the director of your corporation should be Bugs Bunny, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Peter Parker, John Smith, or the number one Canadian name right now, Parminder Singh. Make it that. All right, we're good. Houston says, 53 years old, in process of buying your parents' shares. Any tips? I need a lot more details on that. What, a corporation, a car? What are you buying? Let me know. I'll get you a better answer once I know the entire question. Yes, Nomi, I do a lot of business consultation for a lot of Canadians, a lot. Yes, I'm not an accountant, just so you know. I'm a strategist. So my CPA team, to which I have many, follow my instructions to the letter of mine. Like my instructions are law in this company. So the CPAs that I'm working with, and I'll never name them. So the CRA, I know you guys watch the show. Your losers get lost. You ain't going to figure it out this time. All right. So they follow everything that I state, and we submit everything according to my instructions and my strategies. And then as for guiding our clients how to make down the pathway of how to make money and keep it, yes, we do that for a lot of people. Okay, very good. Let's go to the Rumble Room here. Question. How are the medical clinics in Panama which offer stem cells for lumbar injuries? Oh my God, stem cells are everywhere in Panama. There's no law that says you can't use them. It's kind of not even in the gray when you stop and think about it. If you want stem cell treatment, I can arrange that for you. Remember, I got a medical company down here. We hook a lot of Canadians and Americans and Brits up with real health care down here, not Canadian deaf care. What are my favorite two recording devices for these special meetings with doctor visits? Well, I mean, your phone in a pocket, that works. They've got watches that do nothing but record now. Meta glasses, little MP3 recorders, just stick them in your pocket. Whatever it might be. I think a really good business for one of you out there, if you're a good goldsmith or a good jewelry maker, is to turn jewelry into recording devices. Why not? When you're dealing with Canadian doctors, you should be recording everything they say. If I pay my local Native Reserve child care provider $5,000 per child for my 4 kids, and they care for my kids once and then gift me $4,500 per kid for the money back to me, can I claim the $20,000 receipt? Absolutely, you can. 100% you know what? I never thought of that. Did you hear that? That's awesome. All right. Yes, you can. Hey, any natives out there? Indians, that kind. Not the red dot kind, the other kind. If there's any of you out there and you want to make money, that is a great idea. My God. Thank you. Jamins, man, I'm going to buy you dinner for that idea. That is awesome. Yes, you can. Wow. So we all just learned something today, folks, including myself. But yes, it's completely legal to write off any receipt that you get from anyone, anywhere in the world, period. Question, can I personally sue an ICBC adjuster or their lawyer if they won't reinstate my weekly medical treatments? Yes. You can sue anybody for anything. Absolutely anything. The answer is yes. But please have all your ducks in a row. Have all the information handy that you need. Alrighty. If I was going to take care of your RRSPs, a nice sum, could I use some of it to create 2 numbered corporations to pay you? Yes. Actually, FitChick, we do that for a lot of people. So what'll happen here, obviously everybody has to make money, and we can't make money if we're taking the RSP money and spending it frivolously on things. But if it's something small, like a few grand here and a few grand there, yes, we absolutely can do that. So FitChick, get a hold of me, please. We'll certainly go through that. All right, let's head over to, okay. What's my favorite coffee? Black. Black. I'm not getting into coffee. I think that's a reference to the old coffee company I used to own and run, which got shut down because the Canadian government didn't want me running a business in Canada. Yeah, I had a court order on me saying I couldn't run a business, nor could I have a job. That's how Canada functions, which was too bad because Wasted Native Coffee was the damn finest coffee you ever could have had. Look that one up for yourself, by the way. It's literally called Wasted Native Coffee. If you type that into Google, all of you can do this either during the show or right afterwards. It's at APTN. That's that Native Network. Oh, it's a horrible channel. It is awful. They did this story, and all it was Kevin's bad because he's white. Nah, that's all. You guys got to see it for yourself. It is hilarious. It really is funny stuff. All right, next. All righty. Why did I pick Panama over any other country? Well, because I tried Mexico. Everyone's full of crap in Mexico. Very difficult to run a business there. In Mexico, things really aren't expensive if you're buying from the locals. But as soon as you show up as a gringo and you don't speak Spanish, all of a sudden the price dectuples. So I figured out that in Mexico, I'd never make money. Everybody would just be stealing from me. I went to Costa Rica for 5 months. It's a third world country with New York City pricing. I said that before, and I'll say it again. That country sucks. It sucks. Costa Rica has nothing to offer at all. San Jose, the capital, has no charm at all. It's not a city. It's a bunch of small towns connected by toll highways, which also suck immensely, by the way. Costa Rica is the most expensive country in Latin and South America by a lot. You want an idea what I'm talking about? I tried to rent a car in Costa Rica for 3 months. They wanted $16,000. Yeah. I called Enterprise Rent a Car in Panama City. They wanted about $1,600 plus tax, plus insurance, less than $2,000. So Costa Rica for car rentals is literally 10 times the price of Panama. Yeah. Hamburgers are about 3 times the price. Rent? Oh, man. The people in Costa Rica who rent you stuff, they will start knocking on the door at 5 a.m. because the sun comes up around 5:30, and they'll start asking you for next month's rent money 2 weeks before the month's even over. Everyone there's got their hands out. Like Costa Rica, money, give me money, give me money. Everyone's like that. Even the Canadians who are there are like that. No, I won't do business there. You can't make money in Costa Rica. The country sucks. The weather is horrible. It's blistering hot and exceptionally humid. And when you go in the water in the ocean, it's really shallow on the West Coast. So it's hotter than the air. Now, if you walk in with no sweat on your body, go waist high in the ocean in Costa Rica, you just break out sweating. That's how hot it is. And the food is average. It's average in comparison to the food here in Panama, which is over the top phenomenal. The food in Panama is phenomenal. All right. So Panama City is number 1 for business in all the Southern America portion and Latin America, number 2 for safety. San Jose is not even in the top 20 when it comes to cities for doing business. So you tell me what I'm going to do. Good food, cheap, everything's cheap if you go to the right places. And when a rental car is 10 times cheaper than the country next door, you tell me what I'm doing. All right, next here. Oh my God, look what happened. I got 46 questions popped in here. All right, so anybody who wants to hire me, just my website, please. I do not communicate through direct messaging on any social media platform. If you're getting WhatsApp phone calls, it ain't me. If you are getting Signal or Telegram messages, that's not me. You're not talking to me. You're talking to a con artist. Please get rid of them as quickly as you can. Do everything through my website right here, KevinJJohnston.com, or here on Rumble. There it is. Use the website only. Thank you. Okay, Kevin, do you have a way to beat the 407? I absolutely do. For those who don't know what that means, The province of Ontario in Canada has what's called the 400 series highways, which just means the highway has 4 lanes minimum. That's all that it means. Highway 401 connects Detroit and Windsor, that region, all the way to Quebec, as an example. And that thing it's like 16 lanes at some points. And the 16 lanes do about 2 kilometers an hour. It's a horrible piece of road. Then you've got Highway 410, which goes from my hometown all the way up to crap towns that are full of crap. Highway 427 will get you to the airport in the Toronto area. What else do you have there? Highway 409 is this really dangerous strip of road that connects the airport to Highway 401. The list goes on. I think 416 is the highway that you take from the 401 to get into downtown Ottawa. Another crappy piece of road. But the 407, they call that one the electronic toll route. So Canadian tax dollars paid for this piece of highway to be built. Now, this highway is actually quite nice, folks. It is well constructed. And then the Canadian government, after using your money to pay for this thing, sold it to a foreign company. And for some reason, the Ontario provincial pigs are allowed to drive up and down that highway giving out speeding tickets. It's private property, but somehow the pork are handing out tickets. I don't get it. It's bizarre. So when you drive through those gates, it tags your license plate. They hit you with between $1 and $5 worth of fees just for getting on the road, plus the massive amounts of money per kilometer that you have to pay. So a friend of mine contacted me saying that he had to shut his company down because he cannot make deliveries in Vaughan and Thornhill, areas that are north of Toronto, if he uses the 401. He uses the 407, but he had over 20 trucks, all cube vans. Kevin, can you find a way to have me not pay a penny on the 407? Give me a month. Let me figure it out. And I did. I'm not going to tell you what the solution is because you're not paying me for it right now. But he no longer pays 407 bills at all. So the man's saving about $250,000 a year in this toll nonsense. He's driving the 407 for free, and it's 100% legal. So if any of you have trucking companies or shipping companies, or if any of you just in general don't want to pay toll in Ontario, let me know. All right, we can get you into a program where you don't. That's completely legal. All right, and when I say legal, I'm not saying illegal. I'm saying legal. That's all we do is legal stuff. 407's not going to be happy with me. I don't care. I'm not here to make those losers happy. I'm here to make me happy. I want to make money. If you are the director of a corporation, can you be removed? Yeah, you can fire yourself anytime you want. You can step down anytime you want. You can be fired as the director, sure. You don't want to be the director, everybody, period. Once your corporation has 2 or 3 bank accounts opened up, make sure you're not the director, please. And tell the truth. If you stepped down as director 5 or 6 years ago, then swear an affidavit into that effect, because the CRA can't chase you past 2 years. So if you literally got fired as director 5 years ago, but they didn't update the database, you want to make sure I got fired as director 5 years ago. You want to make that known in an affidavit. So yes, anybody can be fired anytime. I have a business now and I am the director. Can I change the director now and get me out of it? Yes. And my question is, what the hell are you waiting for? Get it done. You can typically do it utilizing what's called the corporate key. So the province of Ontario, you can log into Service Ontario, or in BC, it's the communist, whatever they call it. You log in there and just remove yourself as the director. You don't even have to give a reason. And I'm telling you this, folks, if your step down date was 2, 3, 5 years ago, you make sure you put that down in the notes when you log in through your corporate key. Corporate key, by the way, just means user ID and password for a website. That's all it means. How expensive is dental work in Panama? I took 3 of us from the office down. It cost me $58 for all 3 of us to get a cleaning and a scrub and whatever they did. That's all it was. It's amazing. I am going to get a tooth put in because I was in a embarrassed to say, no, I'm not embarrassed to say, it was actually pretty funny. I was in a martial arts match that I should not have been in. I was not a black belt. I lied, got in there. I did okay. But as we were fighting, I got kicked in the face so bad that a tooth flew out of my mouth. Yeah, literally. There it was. I actually saw this white blur go right past my face. I'm finally going to get that done. So, you know, where you're in Canada, they say that they can make a tooth and screw it into your jaw and whatnot. And we'll do it all for the low price of $4,900 and something or $6,200. And insurance will only cover like 10% of it and whatnot. Would you like to know what the price is for me getting a tooth drilled in? $595. That's it. That is all. And what I even did is I contacted my dentist, my old dentist back in my hometown of Mississauga, and I had them send all the x-rays down so that they can take those x-rays and shape the tooth as close to the way it was before I screwed up and didn't block that kick. So, by the way, guys, that hurt. So if anybody ever asks, would you like to have a tooth kicked out of your mouth? Please decline. That hurt for 3 days straight. It was every heartbeat was pain. I just kept saying, could someone please stop my heart? This sucks. It really hurt. So if you ever saw that Jackass movie where they tied the string to Danger Aaron's tooth and took off in a Lamborghini and the tooth just goes poof, flies right out and you see him screaming, oh, that's real. All right. Because that's how I was. All right. There you go. Cheap. Not even $600. I'm getting a brand new, well, not a real tooth, but you're not going to know the difference. In fact, you know what? I think I'm going to watch Jackass 3 again. That was their best one. I laughed all the way through that one. Alrighty. Let's see. I'm just going to check the Rumble room here for the rest of your questions. It looks like we're slowing down a bit on questions. Fit Chick. Yes, that lady that you've mentioned there, she does work for me. That is correct. All right. Jaman says, if I buy gold from my local native at a high price, get an invoice and a receipt from him for the purchase and sell it back to him at a low price and say the $100,000 loss was provable with bank records, and then I take the $30,000 loss he gives me, the difference as a gift, I can take the capital loss of 30 grand, and then I could draw out the 30 on my RSP and won't have to pay taxes. Okay, that's genius thinking. I like that. But RRSPs are considered income tax and not capital gains. So you won't get the capital loss put towards the RSP there. It's better for you just to move the RRSP to my brokerage house and let me get that money back into your hands completely and totally tax-free. But that's clever. You're thinking. I like that. Not too many people think anymore. That's awesome. All right, what else do we have here? Checking YouTube. Okay. All right, so Trump wants to pause tariffs for 3 days and wants deeper talks about Keystone. Hey, I got news for you. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't live in Canada anymore. I don't care. That country was nothing but heartache and pain for me, and it's heartache and pain for everybody else who believes that it could possibly come back one day. I'm telling you that it can't. Just get out. Get out and let the thing collapse. For all the podcasters in Canada, all these so-called right-wing guys, all these so-called patriots, guys, I started doing all that patriot talk back in 2016. And I can tell you here in 2026, it's over. All of you guys who are talking now about saving the country and you want freedom and everything else, that ship has sailed, amigos. It's over. You guys needed to exist at the same time as me, because when I was doing this stuff back in 2016, 17, there were 5 of us, 5 big names across the country that were doing this. And that's all that there were, 5. And I'll go through them. There was me. There was Pastor Archer Pawlowski, Pat King, Chris Sky, and Jeremy McKenzie. And that's it. There was us. We needed hundreds of you back then. There's hundreds of you now, but it's too late, guys. It's all over. So forget about it. Make money somewhere else. You're not going to make money in Canada. Here's the other strange part too. I've communicated officially now with all of these so-called conservative podcasters saying, I want to put money in your pocket. Let me buy advertising on your show. And they all say the same thing. No, we can't do that. We're not in this for the money. We're in this to save the nation. You are delusional, man. You are. You're crazy. You think turning on TikTok, blah, 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 we want freedom in Canada, blah, 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 Mark Carney's bad. You think that's going to do anything? You're out of your minds. So if you want to be delusional thinkers, go right ahead. But for everybody else out there who's actually paying attention, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sad about it, but Canada's done. Why waste your time? I am a multimillionaire here in Panama. You could be too. There's nothing stopping you from getting on a plane except for your own fear and self-doubt. There's no law that says you can't come to Panama. In fact, I can get you a corporation, a corporate bank account, and residency in less than 6 weeks, all of it. Usually it's 4. And once you are a resident here, make money. Just start making money. What the hell are you waiting for? All right. And listen, so I don't know how to say your name. Naj Rakakovikoveni. Woo, that's quite the mouthful. I'll tell you that. But yeah, listen, if there's people in your circle who want to know more about RSPs and rotating money and numbers like what you're proposing, I think it's a great idea. I always like talking to groups. And listen, whenever you lovely people out there grab yourself a consultation with me, all right, you can have your whole family sit in a consultation. It's not like I'm going to say it's just you. No. We have entire families sitting in on these. And sometimes what they'll do is folks will have mom and dad come over and cousin Jake and everybody else. And those like 10, 15 people sitting in the room. And they're all part of that consultation. Now, obviously, we're not going to have time to have 15 questions pour in, but your circle, being your family or your friends or your clan or your tribe or your gang, whatever it might be, you're all welcome to sit in on these things. I'm not sitting there being secretive, period. So by all means, join us. I'd love to have you. All right, let me check Twitter. Okay. Oh my God, yes. What do I think? What do I think about this effort to try to boycott American products in Canada? It's stupid. All right. First off, AMC Theaters, American chain. All right. Tim Hortons, not a Canadian chain anymore. It's an American company. McDonald's, Burger King, Carl's Jr., KFC, all American companies. You people go there all the time. Yeah. Even Odeon Theaters. That's a New York-based company. Come on, admit it, folks. When Marvel puts a movie out, you go opening day, don't you? That's an American company. All right. It's not like we have any Canadian comic book companies out there that Hollywood just can't wait to make a movie about. Everything you consume is American. Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus. I got Prime, Amazon Prime. All this stuff is American. You consume it all. Coffee. A lot of coffee goes through the States. Without American shipping ports or American airports, you're not getting coffee, period. So technically, it's an American product. The NHL, United States, NFL, MLB, Major League Soccer, all the NBA, WNBA, because I'm sure you watch that. Yeah, all of that is U.S. stuff. You consume it all. And somehow, stupid Canadians, and there's a lot of those, will think to themselves, if we just take American liquor off of our shelves, Donald Trump will see the light and make my life easier. That's literally what you people think. Not the ones watching this show, but the other ones out there that I'm addressing right now. Are you kidding me? If you boycotted every single American product, Canada would shut down in a week. It's over. What Canadian manufacturer do you buy from right now? Tell me, really. What Canadian manufacturing companies even exist anymore? And what the hell are they building? Because I don't know of any. We certainly don't have Canadian manufacturers contacting me saying, please, we want to save money, because there just aren't that many around. There are distribution companies out there. There are international buying companies out there. There are storage companies out there. There's all kinds of stuff like that, but no one's making anything in Canada. So what do I think about boycotting U.S. products? Good luck. And I mean it. Good luck. You wouldn't even know if you had an American product on you or not. Period. All right, next. Who am I voting? No, guys, I don't care. I'm not voting for anybody in Canada. You think I care who wins the mayorship of any city? I don't give a rat's ass. The country's cooked. Who cares? Okay, just keeping checking out some more questions here. I did message you on your website regarding a job. Okay, well, folks, message me right now because I've got some of my team in the office with me right now. They can get back to you pretty fast. By the way, in Edmonton, in about 3 weeks, I am going to need a lot of people, probably the better part of 30 people, to hand out flyers. So here's the way it works. You're going to hand them out. They're not flyers. They're actually postcards, but they're just a cardstock flyer. You're going to have your camera running with you handing stuff out. You got to be live on whatever social media platform you prefer. What you'll do is send me the link and show me when you're out there delivering. So I see the live footage. My team will be watching it on the screen, probably having a good chuckle about it. Just hand the stuff out. Guess what happens? End of your shift, contact me. You get paid. I mean, imagine you work for me, you get paid the same day. Is that wild or what? It's $30 an hour, guys. Handing flyers out. So that is going to start in Edmonton in about 3.5 weeks. All right, get a hold of me. It's a serious thing. If you want to deliver flyers in that area, let's get that cracking. All right, what's next? Okay, so under 100 says, wow, we need to talk about the 407. We have 35 trucks and they're always snarled in traffic. Well, let's free them up on the 407 and have you never pay any 407 tab again. And like this, I'm not kidding. I hate the 407. You guys actually should probably look me up in either I think it's Toronto Star Toronto Sun did a story on me way back when that stupid highway opened up. What I did is I had released 2 bumper stickers. One said ETR, evil thieving robbers. And the other one was this sticker that you put in the back window. It was this big like this. And it said, hey, 407, with that on it. Right? So, and I sold a lot. I sold quite a few of those. Back before the internet was really a thing. It was all done through telephone order. Believe that? Wow, that's how old I am. So look me up. You'll see that I had done so. And 407's response was to send me a letter saying that they were made aware. That they always word stuff carefully. They were made aware of the fact that I was using their logo on a sticker. I said, wrote a letter back saying, no, look at the measurements. They are not the same. Get lost. And they weren't the same. I made sure the measurements were different. Okay, moving on here. The wealthy peasant says, I saw you in Bloodsport, picked up your gold tooth. I remember that scene. All right. Did I win my court case October 1st of 2025? Well, as I told you earlier in the show, we only ever lost the one, but the appeal is still on. No, folks, I do not know Mario Zelena on a personal level, period. No, he spoke negatively about me once. I don't care. Mario does not make me money. Mario does not lose me money. So Mario is someone I don't think about. If it wasn't, I'd leave if it wasn't for my 2 young children living here. Guys, don't blame your kids. Don't blame your kids for your decisions. It's a matter of you just go. If your kids are under 18, you got no choice, man. You're in charge. It's your money. You say, I'm leaving. They say, no. Okay. Bye. But if they're young kids, they'll adjust pretty quick. There's a silly argument I hear from a lot of people saying, well, this is their childhood home. They're going to miss it. They don't give a shit. If your children are young, you know what they want is you. They want mama and they want dada. That is what they want. They don't care where they are so long as they are with you. That's the truth. So pick up and go. If you really are sick of the country and you think it's dangerous to have children in that country, which in the big cities now it is for your children because of you know what and you know who, well, time to pick up and go. Don't use your kids as an excuse ever. How do I make money down here? How could somebody make money in Panama? Advertising agencies are absolutely required here. I mean, tourism. You know how, we have this joke all the time. Prissy white people are frightened by everything. All right. So I'll give you an example here. In my neighborhood, there's beautiful brand new buildings. And then there's this guy who absolutely refuses to sell his house. It's made of wood. It's falling apart. And for some reason, he's usually got a couple of roosters on his front porch or on his balcony level, along with other birds that hang around. Now, you know me, I talk to everybody. So chatting with the guy, you know, he cut my hair once in a while. He runs a barbershop out of his house. And I've watched on 3 separate occasions, white women look at the thing, oh my God, and they grab their husbands and they go the other direction. Like, you think because a house is rickety, it's dangerous? Come on. So a tour guide, somebody who could point out that in only select neighborhoods do buildings or houses look like that, you would do quite well. Making deals down here with real estate agents or law firms or anyone who's looking to sell to gringos, if you can bridge that gap, you'll make a lot of money here. You really will. There's other stuff that we have in mind, and I'm willing to discuss only with people who want to invest. We have a couple of projects here that are, they're going to make a lot of money, but I only deal with people on those who are willing to put some dough in, which means you need to have deep pockets. I only deal with investors now who have $1 million US or more. That's not an insult to anybody. It's just I'm moving to the next tier of my expectations of myself. There we go. Hi, Kevin. Just got my temporary residency for Panama. I should get the permanent residency by February. Any chance of finding work? Well, tell me what your skill sets are. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to work in Panama, you don't work for a Panamanian company because you'll get Panamanian wages, which will be about anywhere between $3 and $6 an hour. What you want to do is you want to work with the Germans. You want to work with the Americans. You work with any of the European companies who have set up shop here, to which there are many. You absolutely want to look them up. Could you drive from Vancouver to Panama? Yes. Would I do it? No. I'll tell you why. The Chihuahua state of Mexico, and for those who don't know, Mexico is called the United States of Mexico. That's the official name. I think it's about 31 or 32 states. Right now, Chihuahua is crazy. You'll get robbed. And if you're not driving in a convoy, I would stay out of Guatemala and Honduras. But the problem is you got to go through one of them to get to the next one in line, which would be El Salvador. That one's okay. Nicaragua shouldn't be a problem, but it's still a communist country. And you always got to be careful in places like Nicaragua. Costa Rica, you'll have no trouble. I don't like Costa Rica, but I'm not going to lie to you. You'll have zero problems driving through Costa Rica. No one's going to give you a difficult time there. And when you finally cross the border at Panama, you're going to be 100% A-okay, period. In case you get caught speeding, always have cash. Always have about $250 cash in your pocket in 5s, 10s, and 20s. Don't waste your time with hundreds, okay? Don't do that. And that way, if a cop pulls you over, start off at 20, usually they settle between 40 and 60, and you're free to go. Yes, Carrie Yell, still offering the flyer program. We will be doing it in Vancouver in October. We're starting in Edmonton in September. But yes, we will be doing Vancouver October. All right, next here. All right. Oh, I got a troll here in my email box. We'll be ignoring you. Next. Why do you say the things that you say? I would probably want a bit more context on that one. Are you referring to the fact that I am boisterous and loud and say what I want? Why would I do that? Well, because I got things to say. There's problems in the world that we're not going to solve if everybody pussyfoots around them. But, dude, I have no idea what that question means, so I'm not going to bother with that one. Okay, next. When was the last time I was in Canada? November 2023. Yeah, it's been a while. 2020, yeah, November 2023. And I hate the place, guys. So don't count on me coming back. I just don't want to be around the level of anger and rage and depression that everybody has to admit all the time. It gets to be a bit much. I was forced to move to Canada at age 14. Cannot seem to convince my 22-year-old daughter to move out of here. Then leave her. Eventually, she'll figure out that she can't make it on her own and she'll come and see you. But, with kids like me, like you, like everybody, we're not going to listen to our parents. We have to learn for ourselves what we actually want and what we're actually capable of doing. And if she wants to stay, wish her the best. Don't say, okay, stay in a fit of rage. Just say, okay, honey, well, I respect that. You're an adult. Come visit anytime. It is that simple. Is Canadian $4,000 a month to live in Panama? Oh, yeah. Yeah, what would that be? 3,200 US? Absolutely, it would. You would be able to rent a really good place here for about 12 to 1,400 US. And if you eat in the same neighborhoods that I eat in, then you are looking at anywhere between $3 and $10 a day in restaurant meals, literally. If you're buying groceries and you go to the correct stores, it's extremely inexpensive. And you'll find that if you want to go to the movies, it's $6, and the subway system in Panama City is 35 cents. The buses are 25 cents. Yeah, the food is remarkable. You see, here's the thing. You get high value for your money here. But $3,200 US a month, you absolutely can live in Panama. You're not going to be lavish. You're not going to live the lifestyle that I live. Now, mine's not lavish, but when I got to get something done, I do it. If I feel like going somewhere else in the country, I don't drive anymore. I just hire a plane. I hire a private pilot in a helicopter or a plane. That's pricey. You won't be able to do that on $3,200 a month, but you'll still be able to get around. Like, let's say, for example, in Panama, you wanted to go an hour and a half west of Panama City to a beautiful place called Playa Blanca. Beautiful beach. Awesome. Cool resort too. You'll hire a driver for about $70 to $80 each way. So $160, you get a private driver, wreck in their car, not yours, driving out there. Stay there for the day. Driver takes you home the next day or 2 days later or whatever it might be. So you actually don't have to own a car in Panama. There's enough people here willing to do the job for low prices that you're going to be A-okay. So the answer is yes. Check the check. I like that one. Sorry, you're asking me how to defend. Sorry, check the check. How to defend what? Could you elaborate on that question, please? What's the difference between policy and law? Excellent question. Laws of the land. And this is going to have to be the last one, folks. I just realized the time. Now I wonder why my knees, my calves are sore because I've been doing these calf lifts pretty much the whole. Guys, when I'm doing this show, I stand up now. I don't sit in a chair. And I'm constantly flexing my calves. And right now, they're on fire. Right? So that's it. This is my calf workouts doing this show. All right. Laws. I'll stand back a bit. Laws are way up here. I can stretch this microphone a little bit. Laws are way up here, folks. All right, everyone? This is the law of the land. Laws are the ones that dictate the economy and the culture and the safety and the success of your country. Don't kill, don't steal, don't blow things up, don't break into people's houses. Those are laws. Now, a law always has the word punishment, especially in Canada. So if it says punishment, it is a law. All right. If you break those laws, you either do prison time or you pay a fine or you have some kind of conditions, whatever it might be. But then below, like law is way up here. Now you've got the act. The Income Tax Act, in this case here for the CRA, is a series of rules and instructions that state that the CRA can write policies. So the Income Tax Act is not something you and I need to concern ourselves with at all. That's for the CRA. So the CRA looks at the act and they find all these little stupid clauses in there and they say, okay, we can pester somebody at home under the act. So we're going to write policy now. Because the act says we can harass people, our policy, our internal corporate policy is we will send letters to bother people and we will threaten people and we will insult them and scream at them and try to frighten them into paying us. And then below that policy, they've got their rules, which are way down here. Law, act, policy, and rules. And the rules that come in are what the CRA abide by or supposed to inside of their own corporation. So the laws of the land are the ones that I obey. And that way there's no cops calling me, threatening me with arrest and whatnot. And as for the Income Tax Act, that is something the CRA utilizes to write corporate policy. The CRA is merely a corporation like everything else. And they're utilizing the act to write their policies. And they're telling you that their stupid policies are the law. Do what we say because it's our policy. You don't give a shit about your policy. How many times you guys see me during COVID? I was filming stuff in hospital parking lots, and security guards, all wearing turbans, by the way, would come over and say, you can't film. It's our policy. I'd say, okay, just show me the law that says I can't film on publicly funded land. Let me show it to me. Well, it's our policy. And they'd have this little rule book about cameras in the parking lot. I said, good, dude, that's your policy. That pertains to you. You can't film here, but I can. Policy are the rules of the corporation. Coca-Cola probably tells all of its staff, you cannot wear a Pepsi shirt inside this building. Pepsi probably says the same thing about Coke. Tim Hortons probably has a policy saying, do not get caught drinking Starbucks coffee in here. Now, these are policies. They have no bearing on anybody who does not work for that corporation. So when the CRA says it's our policy, I said, good, my policy is to tell you to go to hell. And if you bother us again, our policy is to hunt you down at home so that we can report you to the cops. And if the cops won't do anything, fine, we'll file charges at the courthouse. And eventually I'm going to lose my patience with the CRA and start just publishing their home addresses. And I can do that legally. All right. Would you like to know how? I bet you do. All right, everyone. Doxing is illegal. Do not do it. Do not dox. If you know the home address of someone that you don't like, let's say like Mark Carney or whatnot, don't say, hi, I tracked down Mark Carney and here's his home address. Don't do that. That's illegal. But you can sue Mark Carney for $1. And in that lawsuit, this is how stupid the law is. In that, you can accuse him of anything you want. Mark Carney stole my sandals and stole my children's dirty diapers, and he sniffed them on my front lawn for 3 days, and he stuck his head in my toilet and was eating everything in the toilet. You can lie. You can say anything you want. It's a statement of claim. You can claim anything. But in that lawsuit, if you sue the guy for $1, one little dollar, and you put all this crazy crap in there, and the home address is listed in the lawsuit, once the court clerk goes and stamps it, it's a public document. Yeah. So if I want to start releasing the home addresses of anybody who works for the CRA, I'm not going to dox them because that's illegal. That is covered in the Criminal Code of Canada. We won't do it. But I promise you, I will sue them for $1 and I will release the lawsuit to the world to see. All right. That's it. That's how it works. Now you know how deeply ingrained I am with my knowledge in the law. And I'm telling you this, I don't particularly care for anything that the Canadian court system, in fact, they suck. Everything in Canada sucks. Every government institution sucks. But I'm still going to live my life working within the confines of the Criminal Code of Canada. I've never been arrested nor charged with a real crime in Canada. It's all been hate speech stuff or just, breaking mask mandates and things like that. They have never got me on a crime because I don't commit crimes. I know the law and I work within it. So if any of you out there ever wanted to know how you can publish somebody's information legally, you do it through a lawsuit. Please do not break the law. Do not, under any circumstances, risk your freedom or have a criminal record because you acted out of malice or an emotional reaction. Do it do it the Kevin J. Johnston way. Work within the bounds of the Criminal Code of Canada, and you'll find that everything is going to be copacetic, especially when it comes to your freedom. Now, you know that the Canadian government was kind enough to show me the inside of 14 different prisons right across the country. because I wouldn't shut up about that COVID nonsense. And I wouldn't stop saving lives, by the way. You don't really have to worry about them. Like they're not like you see in American movies. All right. Guys don't get raped in Canadian prisons. You know what they are? Boring. I said they're boring. There's nothing to do. So you don't want to be there for the sole purpose of you twiddle your thumbs all day. The gyms are garbage. Yeah, at least we'll say American prisons give you a good gym to work out in. In Canada, you get like 1 or 2 machines, and that's the end of that. Plus, they only open them up for about 3-4 hours a day. There's nothing to do. That's why Canadian prisons suck. But beyond that, you'll make it out okay. But don't go to prison because you're doxing people. Be smart, guys, okay? Be smart. All righty. At what point do I need to have an accountant like you? I have a 2.5 net worth with my wife. Plan to leave in 5 years. Well, Jesus, I would say that you should get a hold of me now. And let's be honest here. There's nobody like me that does taxes the way that I do in Canada. Everybody in Canada, for whatever the reason, is just god-awfully, deathly afraid of the CRA. And the CRA is afraid of me. And they should be. I hate them. And if there's any way at all that I can interfere with their happiness, their ability to make money, or their personal lives within the confines of the law, believe me, I will. I will. And I will enjoy every minute of it. I love what I do for a living, everybody. I absolutely adore getting on the nerves of the losers who work for the Canadian government. Because the Canadian government doesn't have any real men working there. And all the women who work within the Canadian government, they're psychotic. You ever notice that? They're all left-wing nuts, not interested in making their lives better. I'm interested in making their lives worse and interested in making my clients' lives considerably better. All right? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been 2 hours and 52 minutes here. The show is normally only 2 hours, but because I hurt myself surfing and missed last week, here I am giving a little bit of extra time here. Oh, the threshold where I can benefit you? I can benefit anybody. I mean, is there something special that you think that you might need a special thing for? Maybe let me know on my website. That certainly would absolutely help. Wealthy Peasant, thank you very much for that commentary. All right, everyone. Let's do a quick thing here. I forgot to ask. We're only at 27,000 likes. That's absolutely unacceptable. How about this? Why don't we, for the next 2 minutes, just both of you, both fingers, all you out there, 2 fingers, just get the likes going, rifle through it. Let's fire the likes up over 35,000 before I take off here. So if that's the case, we got time for maybe one more question here. What about the AI and the Canadian tax system where everything will be connected to digital ID and AI agents can go through stuff? Hey, you think that they're... Do you really think that they are ever going to get that working properly? The CRA, their so-called AI is garbage. The AI I had written to serve my clients is a lot better than theirs. And we wrote ours in less than 2 months. It's, it sucks what they do. Digital ID, don't get them. Why would you get them? They'll say it's convenient. Your driver's license, your boating license, your hunting license, your fishing license, your pilot license, your license are all going to be on one card. Well, what happens when they suspend one? I think that card is going to be quite useless if you want the truth. Don't ever get a digital ID. I just found out, for example, that they're talking about making everyone who's got a Red Seal certificate for mechanics to get a digital ID to be able to work. Well, if that's the case, just leave the country, man. Yeah. If I don't understand why people do things like get needles they don't need so they can go on vacation. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And I know that when someone hears that they have to get this digital ID so they can work a crap job at some crap mechanic shop, they probably will do so. And I'm suggesting don't do that. Please don't do that. If Ontario wants you to have a digital ID, then make yourself an official resident of Manitoba or Alberta. You are allowed in Canada to live in one place and be a resident of another. You have full travel rights in Canada. You can buy property anywhere in Canada without asking anyone's permission. That is a charter and constitutional right. So exercise your rights to not have digital ID. I'll never have one, period, no matter what they say. If they say you have to, say, well, no, I don't, because I have a Mexican driver's license and I have a Costa Rican driver's license and I have a Panamanian driver's license. I've also got a Panamanian gun license. What the hell do I need from Canada? Really? Could someone tell me? Because as a gringo, should I decide to buy car insurance, I can promise you this. It's going to be something small like $90 a month. It's not going to be like Canada, $5,000-6,000 a year. Now, one of my clients, he's 25 years old. He says, my God, Mr. Johnston, of course, I said, don't call me Mr. Johnston, please. I'm not old enough for that shit yet. He said that he got a quote of $7,000 a year for car insurance. $7,000. Oh my God, man, that's crazy. So what is what's the advantage? Maybe all of you should think about this and maybe give me some answers next week. What's the advantage to any of you staying in Canada when you're paying that kind of money all of the time and getting almost nothing of value in return? It's sad. I mean, I feel terrible for all of you. I do. But at the same time, I'm telling you all that I'm telling you the truth here. And I've been doing that for a long time. And you all come and you watch this show because you want a bit more insight, perhaps on how to make your lives better. And I'm telling you, it's time to just abandon the idea that your homeland is going to be cured. I'm telling you, it is okay for all of you to go out there, get greedy, start worrying about yourself, be selfish. Don't be a criminal, but be selfish. Make money for yourselves. Guys, I'm looking at it this way, philosophically speaking. I'll be 55 in 5 weeks, which means I've only got 30 years left in my lifespan, according to the national average. And there's a possibility I'll be crapping my pants for the last couple of those years. Possibility. What does that mean? It means I'm going to make as much money as I can while I'm healthy to do so that I'm never a burden on my kids, but also that I've got the choice of really hot nurse to take care of me in my 80s. I'll get the hottest of the hot. There you go. You can do that kind of thing when you've got money. Plan ahead, think ahead, and understand that if you want to be rich, it's never going to be in Canada, period. South America, Latin America, that's where the money is. North America had its time. It's over. South America's up and coming. Get on a plane. Check stuff out, guys. There's a lot of life out there to live. A lot of amazing things to see. And eventually you'll find where you belong. Stick around when you do. Well, I want to say thank you to everyone for being here tonight. Had a lot of fun. Look at that. It's almost a 3-hour mark. Holy frijoles. By the way, thank you for the 35,000 likes. Greatly, greatly appreciate that. Each and every one of you. Woo-wee. Okay, my calves are on fire. I should probably get some sleep. And I just want to announce one last thing here before I go. We now have emergency tax meetings, everybody. So there are some of you out there who need a meeting and you need it now. You need it in 24 hours. So here's what happens. You just go over to my website, KevinJJohnston.com. You click on the book a meeting now, grab yourself the emergency tax meeting. Our guarantee is that one of our representatives is going to call you and get you the 15-minute emergency meeting that you need so that we can determine right off the hop how fast we need to act to solve your tax problem. It's a brand new service. Head over to my website now if that's exactly what you're looking for. The meeting will not be with me, but it's going to be with one of my business partners here. As you know, my business partners are all trained by me. We all work together and speak together absolutely every single day. They know what I know. I trust these men implicitly, so please do go ahead and book if that is what you require. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Tax and Money Show. That is right here live every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on thetaxandmoneyshow.com. We talk about tax. We talk about finance, crypto, cash, money, gold, silver, and every single way imaginable that each and every one of you can stop paying tax and be rich. I'll see you in a week. Love you all, and good night.